And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The Monday edition of the Rob Brown Show begins right now. Welcome in, my friends, to the show that eventually ends at 10 a.m. every morning. But there are 4 hours of sports talk, entertainment excellence standing between us and that moment in time. My name is Rob Brown. The pleasure exclusively mine on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM, the guy that is in charge of this radio program and all radio programs that you have ever heard and enjoyed. He is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Alpha and the Omega of the Fan Upstate. He is the great one, Lonzo, in charge of the broadcast today. What up, Zoe?
So I was just thinking, if
Good morning.
you found out that was little Jimmy, would it be okay?
Little Jimmy didn't make it to the game.
He did not?
He did not.
Little Jimmy didn't make
Yeah,
it?
he couldn't. They tried to spring him from camp. He couldn't get out in time. I was bummed, man. I had a little Jimmy jersey ready and everything.
Calling it little Jimmy. You got to
Truth.
behave at camp, dude.
I asked about little Jimmy. R-Truth said he couldn't make it from camp. I said, that's too bad. And I did this, Lonzo. I went, I got him this jersey. And Truth started laughing. I was like, I broke him.
Way to go, you.
I know. I was so proud of myself. R-Truth told me I had, and I quote, Lil Paul Heyman vibes. We got on the mic together a couple of times at the game on Saturday. And after the last one, right before he was about to leave, I went to talk to him. I went to tell him adios. Thanks for coming. Had a good time. Thanks for doing the show, all that. And he said, yeah, man. He said, for sure. He said, you made it easy, dog. First off, I say dog a lot now. I'd like to thank R-Truth for that. Not that I didn't already say dog, but now I say dog a lot. He said, you made it easy, dog. I was like, thanks, man. In my head, I said, thanks, dog, but I didn't have it in me to say that back to him.
You use dog all the time. You just put big in front of it.
Yeah.
So,
Now I just say dog.
Okay.
You
All
should
right.
say the end now. Thanks to R-Truth. He said, you made this easy, dog. He said, most people, they just give me a mic. He said, you walked me into it. You got the crowd hype about me. You make it easy, dog. You got little Paul Heyman vibes, dog. So if I don't show up for work over the next couple of days, it's because I quit to go pursue my new dream of being R-Truth's manager.
He hasn't heard you say Brock before. I mean, then he'd really be like, yeah.
Maybe. I did tell him before the game, I said, I want you to know, I came in here with one goal today. He said, what's that? I said, you broke Brock Lesnar. You will not break me. And he started laughing. And he went, I break everybody, dog. I was like, you will not break me today, Truth. You will not do it. And he tried. He got real close. If we would have had another segment or two on the mic, he probably would have got me. But I got to tell you, standing next to Truth when he splits the arena and he goes, this side, what's up? That side, what's up? And he's got me doing what's up back and forth with him. I got to tell you, Zoe, top 5 career highlight for me at this point. Like, catch pass from Drew Brees, putting lesson from Craig the Walrus Statler, shadow boxing with Roy Jones Jr., hyping up a crowd with R-Truth. That might be top 4. I'm trying hard to figure out what else is going to go on those. I took a frog splash from the Usos back when they were baby Usos. They were not big time yet. But now that they've become the Usos, I can look back and be like, okay, I took a frog splash from, I got to tell you real quick, I don't remember which Uso brother it was. It was one of them.
I think most people don't remember which one it is.
I don't remember. I know. I mean, now I do.
Well,
Like now it's easier
because they're split.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time, I have no idea what Uso. But I've taken a frog splash from the Usos. I've caught a pass from Breeze. I took a putting lesson from the Walrus. I've been in a ring with Roy Jones Jr. Like I've gotten to a lot of cool stuff. And now, hyping up a crowd alongside R-Truth is on that list, man.
How tall is he? I never looked it up.
A couple of 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter than me, maybe.
Okay,
Probably
all
about
right.
6'1". Is in my ballpark. Not quite. He did say when I walked up to him, he was doing a meet and greet with all the Swamp Rabbit fans, all the season ticket holders. And I walked up, and Stephanie, who is the lady from WWE that sets all this up for me, I walked up, and she remembered us. She told us this story after the interview.
Such a cool story.
The other day. She was the one that was in here when we had friend of the show, Gunther, in here, who, of course, took the Rob Brown bump and is now run to be the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship holder of all time. She told us after the show was over that when they got in the car, Gunther was like, that was cool. And she's like, yeah, you get to do radio with guys who like wrestling. He said, no, that was the first time I'd ever done a station interview in a station. He said, I've always done them at press junkets and at press conferences and stuff like that. Said, I've never done a sit down interview in a studio before like that. And he said, those guys just wanted to talk about wrestling. They weren't trying to get me to say something that was going to allow them to go viral. They just wanted to talk about wrestling.
Although we did go viral.
We did.
Yes.
But we weren't trying to.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, if it happens, it happens. So she said Gunther really appreciated it. She said Truth talked about you guys after it was over as well. So I walked up and she was like, Rob, it's so good to see you. How you doing? I was like, great. And Truth sees me and he walks over and he goes, hey, you're the one I did the interview with, right? And I said, yeah, man, what's up? Good to see you. And he looks me up and down. He goes, you big dog. And I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. Between him looking at me and going, you big dog, and hit me with, you got Lil Paul Heyman vibes. Bro, I got to tell you, I already got an ego, Lonzo.
Yeah.
I walked out of that building Saturday like I could headline WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I could do it.
I'm starting to feel the ego swell a little bit.
What's up?
This room was already hard to be in, and now
And now these shenanigans. No, great time on Saturday. Got a chance. And by the way, got to meet a lot of fans out there. Had a young man by the name of Chris came up, said he listens every single day. He walked up and goes, you do not look like what you sound like. And I said, what do you think I sound like? And every time somebody says that to me, I get the same answer. Every time somebody says, you are not what I picture when I hear your voice. And I go, what do you hear? It is always, I figured like mid-50s fat balding.
So me.
You're not balding.
You're right.
You spent the last 10 minutes before the show talking about how great your damn hair is.
I think 10 minutes is an exaggeration. If we had a few more minutes though, it would have been 10. I think the only person in radio who I've ever met who sounds like their voice is Bill Frady, or who looks like their voice. Bill Frady looks exactly like.
I would agree. I think Tara does too. I think by and large the WRD folks look how they sound.
She's a lot shorter than people think.
That's true.
I mean, true. She is very, very well. I mean, she's pretty short. I mean, compared to us, most people are anyway. But in the building,
that's also true.
I think Todd might be taller than her.
I don't know. We're
gonna have to arrange a meeting just so I can find out.
As much as I could absolutely sit here and talk about the fact that I spent like a solid couple of hours with R-Truth on Saturday, and it was he left, and our buddy Tim Vieira, the president of the Swamp Rabbits, walks up to me and he's like, are you on Cloud 9 right now? And I'm like, did I not just get to spend 3 hours being a wrestling promoter? Yeah, dude, I'm good. Yeah, I'm real good. Not only did I get to spend 3 hours being a wrestler and promoter, but a guy that I have been watching, and I didn't even really think about this, a guy I have been watching, Lonzo, since I was a sophomore in high school. I am 39 years old. A guy I've been watching since I was a sophomore in high school told me on Saturday, you got big time WWE vibes, bro.
I mean, that's cool.
That's great.
Really, that's cool.
So I'm just saying, Paul Triple H Levesque, I'm waiting for the call, dog. I'm waiting for the call. I have an R-Truth endorsement now. I don't think you can get a better endorsement than R-Truth.
Probably not.
I think that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot of stuff we need to cover on the radio broadcast today, including, was this weekend the death of court storming? We have had this conversation a number of times over the past couple of weeks. It has been something that we have discussed at length.
Daggum Mennonites.
Is it time for the death of court storming? Did the Amish kill court storming? If you don't know what we're talking about, that was a very weird sentence to say. Stick around. You'll find out eventually. A Duke player injured after a Wake Forest victory. A game that, by the way, and I will say this, I am having the existential crisis because I have traditionally been pro court storming. But what did I say when we had the conversation last week? If it gets to a point where players are beginning to get injured, then it will have to go away. Well, a Duke player is injured now. Less than 2 weeks ahead of conference championship tournaments, when a team like Duke is trying to improve their seeding to get a better draw in the tournament, right? And one of their best players gets injured. So on one hand, I'm like, okay, that's it. What I said. There's a trigger, man. There's a trigger. There's a spot somewhere in there that this is going to have to stop. Was this that moment? I will also say this. There was one other aspect to it that I pointed out, which is I think fans need to be smart about how they do this. Wake Forest, you were favored to win this game. This was not, I mean, granted, it's Duke, and anytime anybody beats
it's still
Duke,
Duke.
it's fun.
It's absolutely
Right.
still Duke, but I mean, come on.
Listen, I'll put it this way. I'm not one of those people that lives in a fantastical world of ideals. I wish I was. It seems like a lovely place to be. So it's Duke. I'm like, dude, you were favored to win the game. Act like I'm not an act like you've been there before kind of guy. You if you've listened to the show for more than 10 minutes, you know that. I am pro end zone sellies. I am pro all 11 guys putting the ball in the end zone and hitting the electric slide or the icky shuffle together.
Yeah, me too. But that's it's a completely different thing. That's the players who are supposed to be on the field or on the court or wherever. It's not people in the stands who think that they should be out there.
I'm not.
If you want to be out there, be a better athlete.
That's why I'm a great manager, not a great athlete. That was the separation was clearly defined. On the flip side, even if it is Duke, Wake, you were favored to win that game. Like if you want to be in that level, you got in that spot, you got to go. Yeah, we won the game. What did you expect? We're Wake Forest. Steve Forbes, who by the way, former friend of the show. Steve Forbes used to come on my show back when he got his start at Okaloosa Walton Community College 100 years ago. Steve, I'll tell you a real quick story. You'll appreciate this, Lonzo. Steve Forbes used to come on my show back when he coached OWCC. And I knew at the time, I'm like, this guy's going to be somebody. This guy's going to be, I say the same thing about a couple of coaches in the area. Andrew Lord's going to be a coach in the NHL one day. I feel confident in that. He's that guy. I knew Forbes was going to be a guy. He went from there to Wichita State to become the head coach of the Shockers. Now he's all the way at Wake Forest with the Demon Deacs. Big fan. Love Steve. Steve used to come on my show to talk Raider basketball when he was in Niceville, Florida. And one of the first couple of interviews that Forbes did, we bring him on. My producer at the time, guy by the name of Dalla Bill, great guy. Bill puts him on. And we opened the interview, and I'm like, hey, coach of the Okaloosa Walton Community College Raiders, this is Steve Forbes. Steve's, what's up? How we doing? He's like, I'm good. He goes, Rob Brown, before we get started, I have a problem with you right now. I'm like, uh-oh. What'd I do? Steve, what's up? And he said, I need better intro music. I was like, excuse me? He goes, great wrestlers have great walkout songs. I need better intro music on your show if I'm going to do this. I was like, what do you want? He said, I want Biggie. So for the rest of his time at Okaloosa Walton Community College, when he did a weekly update on my show, he came into Biggie Smalls every single day. Love that guy, man. Big Steve Forbes guy. Love what he's doing at Wake Forest. And by the way, as far as I'm concerned, Wake Forest is not a bubble team. Wake should be in. They should be a lock. But we'll talk about that.
Anytime anyone talks theme music, I remember Jerry the King Lawler getting on me because I didn't play his music.
Yep.
When I was doing my job, I didn't know he owned the copyright.
Forbes had the same energy. He's like, I want big time walkout music. So love this guy. Love what he was doing. Love what he's doing at Wake. Phenomenal. But the topic obviously is the court storming. We'll talk about this coming up here in just a minute right now. And I suspect this probably won't be a one segment conversation over the course of the show. I'm not going to run the whole hour on it. But I said the trigger was if a player gets hurt, and a player got hurt. On the flip side, like I kind of wanted to grab the Wake kids by the collar and be like, you were supposed to win this game. You are a favorite in this game. If you want to insult Duke, if you want, all you did, you beat Duke and then immediately turned around and flattered them by storming the court as upset champs, right? You immediately flattered them because if you don't storm the court, that it doesn't feel like the biggest win in Wake history. But you made it feel like the biggest win in Wake history that you beat a team you were favored to win against. This is why Duke fans are arrogant and obnoxious, dude. Because you were a betting favorite and you stormed the court on them anyway. Wake, what are you doing? You're better than this. You're a good basketball team. You are an NCAA tournament lock as far as this expert is concerned. You are a tournament lock, and you storm the court against Duke. This is what you do when you're a little brother. This is what you do when you're a little brother. And this is why people will continue to look at you as Duke's little in-conference brother. You made Duke look like they were the damn, I don't know, Coach K Blue Devils. You made them look like the Duke Blue Devils of old. You made them look like Leitner was still out there. Like you just knocked off the kings of the universe in a game you were expected to win, favored to win. Court storming doesn't have to go away if fans would be not idiots. And I feel like we've kind of gotten to the point where we're blurring the line where fans are acting like idiots. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the radio broadcast. We got to talk to you. We had like 3 different fights in the NBA this weekend. What is going on? And Draymond Green, after a little dust up between the Warriors and the Hornets, and I'll set this up for you later, but after a little dust up between the Warriors and the Hornets, Draymond Green got to a mic, and I am so damn frustrated with Draymond Green because on one hand, I opened up his press conference answer ready to macho man verbally drop elbows on him.
Oh, yeah.
I was ready to beat the hell out of Draymond, and then he made me and Lonzo laugh for like 3 minutes on the microphone. I was so mad. I'm like, I came here to dust you up, and instead I'm sitting here laughing like an idiot. Damn it, Draymond.
So it just shows you that the podcast work he's been doing is helped him with his mic work.
Texter said the Amish are a nonviolent people. Quit trying to throw them under the bus. I mean, Buggy. It's good text. It's a good text. I like that.
I'm
I like
just
that a
trying
lot.
to think of I think you got maybe you have a better shot of getting out of the way of the buggy. Maybe. I don't know.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's roll on. 844-326-3663 is the number. 844-326-3663 is the number. You can text us on the text line 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. You can tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet us all at The Fan Upstate. We are going to be busy today. We are going to have a ball on the show today because it's Monday. Let's rock and roll. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is The Fan Upstate.
This is break is 2 minutes. Have you seen the Chizza yet?
The what?
The Chizza. Look up KFC pizza.
I did see
available today. I'm just saying, available today.
All right, stream, I see you all there, but y'all are being remarkably quiet, shockingly quiet, disappointingly quiet. Where's everybody? Get in here. We host this stream so that we have somewhere else to talk and chat and have a lovely time.
All right, I'm looking up the menu now to see if they have it or not. Because it's supposedly available everywhere today. Kentucky Fried Chicken Pizza, you guys in? So
I did see Cam's brawl. We're coming to that. Wesley, I get it, dog. I get it.
Yeah, that's like his second or third.
This is number 2, but it is also I only brought 2 today, so I'm cutting back. I'm only drinking 2 barrels of Monster today. Daddy's got to get real serious about the weight loss now because I am now stretching out hockey jerseys. Hockey jerseys are meant to look loose and comfortable.
He said hardwood.
All right, folks, the Rob Brown show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is on the other side of the metaphorical glass. 844-326-3663 is the number to be a part of the radio broadcast today. If you missed it, at the end of the Duke Wake Forest game this weekend, and by the way, a fantastic basketball game. It was not, as some have tried to label it the last couple of days, it was not an upset victory. It was not. This was a game that was supposed to have been won by the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. It was supposed to have been won by the Deeks. A very good Wake Forest team. 83-79 was your final in this one.
It's absolutely possible.
Now, Wake Forest at 18-9. Duke was number 8 in the country at 21-6. So all things on the surface appear to have been an upset. It wasn't. Wake was. What we got, Lonzo?
Apparently today's Rob's birthday. That's breaking news because you didn't mention it.
No, I didn't mention it. And I'm going to go ahead and guess by the coincidental timing of that phone call and that glass breaking that was someone I know that called the show.
Yeah, she's still on there wanting to go on the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not entirely sure, but I think
he could have his call screening software up where
I didn't have it up. I didn't know.
There's no excuse this time.
Now.
I mean, it's part of the prep when you get ready to get the show going.
I think making her debut on the show is Rob's mom making the airwaves. Good morning, mother.
Good morning, son. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Get to you one way or the other first time to tell you.
I have a
birthday.
phone. You didn't have to announce it to the whole upstate.
Well, birthdays should be celebrated and known. Enjoy it, my boy.
I will. I'm gonna go drink a bunch of whiskey tonight. That's how I celebrate.
And now I hang up. Have an awesome day. I
love you, Mom.
Have a great show.
Thank
Bye.
you. I'm 39 years old, man.
So the real reason why you don't want to mention it is because you're a year away from that magic number.
Today begins the last day of my 30s, or the last year of my 30s, correct?
Going to be the greatest year of your life.
For the record, I want you to know, this is the 4th birthday I've had here on the upstate. It's never been announced before. This is not new. I'm not a make it about me guy.
That's the first time I've ever spoken to your mom. So she hasn't called in to do this before.
I don't think she has not.
She hasn't, but she has now.
I think 3 of the 4 have fallen on a weekday, and I don't. It's not a big deal, ma'am.
It's a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
It's absolutely a big deal.
It's not a big deal, but I appreciate it. All right, that's my mom. She gets first priority on the show, even when I know she's going to do something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was breaking news because you didn't want to tell anyone. By the way,
so you were like,
shout out to the stream.
Want to say anything? Let me go ahead and
put
his mom on the radio.
Yeah, well, yeah, she didn't know I was going to do that. Shout out to the stream. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X. Let him know that. Give him a happy birthday shout out. Text line 71307. Let him know.
Or we could just talk about court storming like I had planned here.
Okay. Well, we can continue to do that, but we're going to talk about court storming on your birthday.
Texter said happy. I'm just reading this because I might try to make this name stick. Happy birthday, Coach Rob. You're blessed to have such a cool mom. I do agree. My mom is the best. She is. She's cool. She's a cool mom. Joey said 1 year closer to joining us in the club of old. Is 40 the mark? Is 40 the old man mark?
No, man. The mark moves. It moves for each individual.
Every year,
yeah. It's 60 for me now. So, I mean,
James, Tommy, Brandon, appreciate you guys, man. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Yes, it is the birthday today. No, I was not going to talk about it. No, I never do talk about it. You all have listened to this show or this station for 4 years. I've had 4 on our birthdays. I don't bring it up.
Hey.
And mom ruined my streak.
Hey, bro. Would you like a hug on your birthday?
Yes, Lonzo, I would.
All right. Well, we'll embrace later
to prove it happened.
Yeah, we'll embrace later. I prefer to only do that when we win stuff, but it is your birthday, so you won life.
It is.
I mean,
I didn't know if I'd make it to 39, but here we are. All right, April, thank you very much. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. I'm also old. It stinks.
And if you are a Mennonite, stop storming the courts.
Thanks, Mom. All right, back to the story. So after the game was over, after it came to its conclusion, there was an injury where a Duke player, Kyle Filipowski, had his ankle sprained or turned. I don't know that we know the severity of it yet. But the Duke star had a collision with a Demon Deacons fan and was injured. Appeared to bang his right leg into the leg of a fan running past him. There is a above the hoop cam video that is focusing down on the court. And you can see it. Filipowski raised his arms as if to brace for a potential collision. Ended up spinning off balance, ending up wrapping his arms around a manager and had to get help from that manager and walk-on teammate Stanley Borden to get to the locker room. At the moment that this happened, Jon Scheyer, the head coach of the Duke Demon Deacons, was currently shaking hands, actively having a discussion with Wake Forest coach Steve Forbes. He had to break off that conversation to rush out onto the floor in order to get his boy and get Flip off the court. Well, he got to the mic in the post-game presser, and Jon Scheyer obviously immediately had some things to say.
Disappointed we lost. But look, for me, I'm more concerned about the well-being of our guys. Flip sprains his ankle. When are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing. And I don't want that to take away from the game that Wake played. Because Wake played a big-time game. Salas was as good as could be today. And hats off to them. But you look around the country, and Caitlin Clark, something happens. And now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, like when I played, at least there was 10 seconds in the court. You would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off, and they're running on the floor. And this has happened to us a bunch this year. It's part of it. I don't want this to take away at all from Wake. They earned it. They deserve the win. Steve is a hell of a coach. I respect the heck out of him and his team. They're really good. And if this is an example that they need to be in the tournament, what are we even talking about? So I'll answer any questions. But for me, that's hats off to them. We need to be better. We need to learn from this. But that needs to stop.
I do not have an issue with Jon Scheyer believing that, thinking that, saying that. His boy just got his ankle turned. Yeah, no worries with that. But I was real curious and was like, do we have numbers? Because to the chagrin of many, during emotional conversations, my favorite thing to do is let's go find the data. Let's go find the information. Let's make an informed opinion as opposed to an emotional reactionary. 100%.
Go outside, nerd.
Absolutely. ESPN, coincidentally, put together a little bit of a brief insight because they don't track court stormings. It's not a trackable data point. But according to an ESPN review after this game happened, ESPN said there have been about, on average, over the past 3 months of college basketball, 3 court stormings, ... per week.
Per week.
Per week. Now, I want to point out to you, on Saturday, across all levels, there were over 300 college basketball games across the country. At all levels, 300 plus college basketball games on Saturday. That was a very packed week. On any given week, there are north of 450 plus college basketball games across the country all week. You think about it, there could be, you take the bye weeks into consideration, if there was a week where nobody had a bye week, north of 600 college basketball games taking place around the country. Now, only a handful of them are the type of game that would deserve a court storming. Let's say 2%. 2%. You were talking on any given college football or any given college basketball Saturday, you were talking 6 to 10 games that are court storming caliber of a victory. I'm not talking about win. I'm talking of a victory. You go, that would be a justified, if you can justify it, court storming. According to ESPN, there have been about 3 court storms a week over the past 3 months in college basketball. And so far, there have been about 10 incidents this year. Now, one of them was very interesting. They say rarely has anyone gotten hurt. There have been, obviously, the Caitlin Clark situation. There is now Kyle Filipowski at Duke. We are talking about over the let's just keep it to this season. Over just the length of this season, I don't know about you, I can come up with 2. There have been an average of 3 every week for 3 months. I can name 2 times it has been a problem.
Yeah, and all those stats, you forgot to mention one thing. That's still too many. Keep your butt in the stand so people don't get hurt. Your ticket doesn't say, also storm the court. You're allowed out on the court. No, you're not. You're not an athlete. Stay in the stand, celebrate there. There's no reason for you to go out on the court. And this is probably, even though it hasn't escalated, but in recent memory, I mean, like the last 5 or 6 years, I don't remember it being this much or anyone getting hurt.
So this is the spot where, for me, the conversation shifts from me being a nerd.
Go outside, nerd.
Who likes the data points, who like the numbers, because I'm gonna be straight up with you. As far as safety goes, that data point's real low. That's not a shocking. If the names weren't Clark and Filipowski, if the names weren't Iowa and Duke, this wouldn't be a conversation. If this happened to some kid and I don't say this to be a jerk, but it is what it is. If this happened to a young lady at Grand Canyon University, and this happened to a young fella at Northwest Florida State College, the home of the Red Raiders, none of you would know what happened. In fact, I will go one step further and say that I'm kind of leaning on ESPN for this because those things may have happened, but they're not front page news. Nobody's talking about those. We're talking about the names.
They will be now, though.
100%. It will now be. So now moving forward, now this is something that we're going to track, right?
Is this a crusade or is this just a blip? That's the question.
Right. And I think that's fair because you are going to have folks like Duke players and John Shire and here, I'll go one step further. Seth Greenberg, big name at ESPN covering college basketball. Greenberg was furious.
Wake Forest administration dropped the ball. You have to have a plan in place. If you're playing this game and you're expecting to win, you've got to hire extra security. You've got to have a plan in place to make sure these players get off the court safely. Whether it's create a blockade with your security so the students on both ends can't get on the court, but you've got to have something in place. We played Duke, college game day game, my next to last year. Fortunate enough to win. The day before, there was a full plan and a meeting where they had exactly what was going to happen. If we're fortunate enough to win this game, X, Y, and Z. And you know what? Virginia Tech executed it absolutely perfectly. Wake Forest and their administration, shame on you, because you should have had something in place to make sure, most important thing, the security of the visiting team. End of story.
End of story, which, by the way, is going to be a clip on this show, I'm sure. So I will say this. Seth is right. John Shire is right. And then the folks who are pointing out that, at least from a reactionary perspective, this is an issue now. And again, it was Caitlin Clark, it's Kyle Filipowski, it's Duke, it's Iowa. It's a couple of top-notch seeds in the tournament. It's not some little school. Now we're, I think, going to get a better analysis of how big of a deal this is because, as Lonzo's pointed out, now we're all paying attention to it. Now, if a kid at Northwest Florida State College gets dead-legged by a student on the sideline during a court rush, now it will be talked about. Now it's going to make the front page of your favorite sports news article or magazine or whatever. On the flip side, 3 months, averaging 3 storming a week. Now, I'm real bad at math, but let's say on average there's what? 3.5 weeks per month, 4 weeks per month. We'll say 3.5. That means every 2 months, we have 7 weeks. That means there has been, what, 21-ish weeks of college basketball. We're averaging 3 storming a month. We are talking about 70-plus court stormings this year. We have had 2 incidents. Now,
so you're saying
it's
it's
higher than 2%.
You're saying it's okay then?
No, I'm not saying it's okay.
Because you haven't said that. So
I'm not saying it's okay.
you've thrown out the stats, but you haven't said if it's all right or not.
What I'm saying is this. This is easily solvable. Okay? And I'm not talking about, because this is where the emotional side of it comes in. Part of what makes college sports different than pro sports is that even though we're not in college sports, especially if you're an alumni, you feel like you're part of this. Not the team, but you're part of what this community around the team is. If you're a Clemson graduate, when you were at a game, you're not at a football game, you were at your game. This is my team. I'm part of this. I'm part of this whole community here. And in college, especially considering who's storming the courts, it's students at the school. They are there. They're not. When I go to a Hornets game, Miles Bridges is not my peer. I don't know LaMelo like that. But the kids that go to that school, they're in school with the kids that are on the basketball team. I'm not saying they're all friends, but they're peers. We are all Hawkeyes. We are all Blue Devils. We are all Demon Deacons. Whatever. We're all that thing. So even if I'm not on the basketball team, I am a Blue Devil, as are you. I am a Demon Deacon, as are you. And that connection is what makes college basketball great. Lonzo, you have pointed out time and time again, the disparity in talent from the NBA to college is oceans wide. It's continents wide. It's not even in the same ballpark. But the difference, and the reason college basketball is great, is student sections. It's people in that arena. It's all and also some really good basketball. Even if it's not NBA caliber, it's still really good basketball. And so to take this thing away that has made college basketball special when there's an easy fix on the table is very simple. Hey, when the game is over, I need 60 seconds to clear the floor. I need 60 seconds. I'm posting in a couple of security guards at every entry point, 2-3 security guards at every entry point with a whatever, a velvet rope like it's a club VIP section. I got 60 seconds to get the visiting team or whatever off the court. Get Duke off the court. If that game ends and Duke's off the court, I'm not worried about handshake lines, whatever. It's 2024. All right. Get them off the court. When they are off the court, open it up. Let's go. Now it's a party. Easy. Done. Now I don't have to worry about those guys anymore.
Yeah, but
Once
you
the
still have to
blue
worry about
team's
people
off the
being
floor-
trampled. You still got to worry about people trying to get out on the court and falling down and getting hurt. And whether it's happened before or not doesn't mean it can't happen or won't happen. It's liability. I mean, if you are running that arena and someone gets hurt, gets trampled, you're getting sued, and the university is going to lose a bunch of money.
Then I will say, much like I did with the players getting hurt, the day that happens, then I'll worry about it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But here's the thing. I know for a fact because I've worked in
You
arenas my
just
entire
put it
career.
into existence. Now it's going to happen.
No, I did start this. This is all on me, as Lonzo pointed out. This is my fault. Because it's exactly what I said a week ago,
Including the exact body part.
including the exact body
Yep,
part,
yep.
down to the shot, man. No, I think I said knee, didn't I?
Yeah,
Did I
but
say knee or ankle?
I
It was
thought
his ankle.
it was. I thought it was his
I
knee.
thought I
there.
said knee. It was
yeah,
Flip's ankle.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So
I think he got hit in the knee and it hurt his ankle.
that must have been
If
it.
if you look at the video, it looks like he got hit in the knee and it hurt his ankle.
I've worked in arenas at in colleges. I've worked in arenas in professional sports. I've worked in arenas at all level. I do it for multiple teams here in the area. I've done it my whole career. It's one of my favorite things. And I have watched on big game days when the doors to any arena get opened and it's a flood of people. You ever watch the videos of the of Cowboys Stadium? Because now like a good chunk is standing room only. You ever seen the video when they open the doors to Cowboys Stadium for a game?
It's like a Black Friday sale on
It's
towels or
stupid.
something. Yeah.
You know what it looks like? It looks like we all think Black Friday. It looks like what the media wants you to think Black Friday looks like. That's what it looks like.
I've witnessed some things like that. So
Sure, I've
but,
seen
I mean,
some
yeah,
stuff, but I've
yeah.
never seen like that. It's a mad rush. And I'm just gonna say, if this was an issue where you were talking about a potential lawsuit for millions of dollars from a fan, I promise you there's no organization that would shut it down faster than the damn Dallas Cowboys would. Okay? So again, I can make this real easy for you. When a game is over and when it feels like there is an imminent court storming coming, you give me 60 seconds to get the visiting team off the floor. You give me 60 seconds. I need my security guys for 60 seconds. 60 seconds to just hold the crowd back and you make an announcement.
Wake Forest fans, please remain off the court for 60 seconds after the final whistle to clear the Duke Blue Veil. 60 seconds, and then the party is on.
That's how I would do it if I was PA.
Yeah,
announcer.
but then you're also saying, hey, in 60 seconds, you can come down here and you can do whatever. And no, that's an invitation to disaster.
I don't think so. Court storm again. This is the part of the conversation
Disaster.
where I have said court storming has been around for 1,000 years. Since the days of the Roman gladiators, we have court stormed. And quick, name me another time outside of Clark and Filipowski that it has been an issue. You can't. You can't.
Our caller can name something.
Guy! Is that correct? Am I going? Or is it French? Is it like Guy?
No, you can do Guy.
Guy it
Good
is.
morning.
Welcome in, Guy.
I worked as an usher at Rutgers University football and basketball games.
Okay.
And another thing to talk about is the state of the fan, even when they get to the game, because we didn't serve alcohol at the football games, but you had fans coming in who were really lit up. And as an usher, you can't touch any of the people. Obviously, you get in trouble. But there was this one person really, really drunk, and there are sections of the stadium where you can jump from over an area and land in a grassy area. He jumped in an area that had nothing waiting for him but to fall down to cement. And he ended up suing the university later. And I mean, again, I was lucky that I worked the other side of the stadium. As an usher, you seeing this guy running to go do what he's going to do, and it's not going to end well, but you can't touch him. You can't do anything. All you can do is immediately call, EMS.
So a couple of things. Now, I listen, I'm not a lawyer. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm just a regular dummy with a microphone. But there is, I would assume, as part of every time I buy a ticket to a sporting event on the back, there's like 1,000 tiny print words. And I would assume somewhere in there and if this isn't the case, I imagine it will be in the future, a part that basically says if you enter anything connected to the playing service and you get injured, it's on you, dog. And by buying this ticket, you agree to that. I don't know if that would hold up. I'm sure there's some Saul Goodmans out there somewhere that would find a way around that. I have always worked under the assumption that if you get anywhere near the playing service, you understand that you are taking on a certain level of assumption of risk. But the second thing I would say is, yes, as an usher, you can't. But if you are especially a high-profile university, hire 10 off-duty cops. I know a bingo parlor that hires off-duty cops to make sure that things don't get out of control when Edna and Myrtle are fighting over who got the last bingo card guy. Hire 10 cops, put them all around. Anybody who goes out there before the 60 seconds, or in Lonzo's case, ever, is going to jail. And I feel like this is solved.
But this wasn't going onto the field. This was a section of the stadium that had, again, you can't cover every inch of the stadium where someone does something stupid when they're drunk.
That's true. I would like to say, and Guy, I appreciate the phone call. And this is where Rob gets all sensitive up in his feels. Guys, not everybody who does this is drunk. Not everybody putting back brewskis is suddenly like, let me run out there and go tarps off on the court. Sometimes people are just dumb.
By the way, Guy was being specific, though, about an incident where there was alcohol. And you don't want to mess with Myrtle, man.
I'm telling you. You come between Myrtle, Edna, and a bingo.
Your name's Myrtle. You ready to scrap?
Yeah.
Because you're just mad at your mom and dad. Cause I mean, Myrtle is, yeah.
You may not see tomorrow if you come between Myrtle and her bingo.
I have a cousin named Myrtle. You don't want to mess with her. She's mean.
We got to take a break. We'll come back here in a minute. Your thoughts are welcome. It is the Rob Brown Show. It is the Fan Upstate.
Hope she's not listening. She might come down here. And
James, I did not, because the race was on and it was ending as I was getting home from the Rabbits game, but I do have it DVR'd, and like the Daytona 500, I'll be watching it a day later on. I also appreciate the shout out. Thank you, buddy. Brandon, thank you. I very much hope you go get in the hashtag Rochambeau with the hashtag Boathouse tonight, hashtag Solidarity. Wesley, thank you very much.
Also, it wasn't the actually Rochambeau. Okay, because
how's the name of a band?
Okay,
my favorite band.
Okay, all right. Because I was concerned.
Yeah,
just a little bit. You don't have a lot of time, so
I don't. Apparently, we have 2-minute breaks all day.
Yeah, well, hurry.
Is this a sports show?
No, we don't do that here. I mean,
it is mostly a sports show with some occasional shenanigans tossed in every now and then for the funsies. Hang out, Mike. You never know. Maybe you'll like it. You know how hard it was at the game Saturday not to repeatedly ask people to give me a hell yeah? So tough. So tough.
Why didn't you?
Because they would not have appreciated that.
You could have went with Woo Chants instead.
I played a song a couple of years ago when I was DJing there. I played a song once that had the word hell in it, and they got like 50 complaint emails from people.
Good. You need to quit trying to corrupt the Utes.
I need y'all to teach the world that the Utes doesn't bend to their will.
You are a heathen.
They are soft.
Did you, in defiance, say, I'm just going to do it anyway and do it again?
No, I literally told them I wasn't DJing anymore.
Ah, okay, fine.
I was like, I can't do this. If that is something that is going to trigger people.
So how do you work in radio when there are words you can't say?
Because there are words that I can say.
Well, you can say all the words you want, but I was pushed a button.
Correct.
Can you be hedonistically angry? I don't know why that just popped into my head.
The Rob Brown Show rolled on. It is the Fan Upstate. We had a new listener to the stream who jumped in and found us on the algorithm. Look at the algorithm treating us nice today on YouTube. I like that. Said, is this a sports show? Not sure why it showed up in my YouTube feed. The answer is kind of, mostly. It's mostly a sports show and then also some other shenanigans. I said we weren't going to spend the entire time court storming, and I, in fact, lied about that. Whoops, my bad. So let's go with this. I said the trigger was going to be when athletes started getting hurt. Caitlin Clark got run up on. Kyle Filipowski got run up on. He turned his ankle in the chaos of the Wake Forest fans streaming to the court to celebrate their victory over number 8 ranked Duke. I think, like I said, it's very fixable. 60 seconds to get the away team off the court, then go bananas. I don't want it to go away. It is an intimate tradition in college basketball.
Intimate?
It is 100. How is it not? You get to go on the floor and celebrate literally with your team.
So you paid for intimacy with the players.
Intimacy does not have to mean bow chicka bow wow. It just
Okay,
means
all right.
emotionally close to.
Okay, well, you can be emotionally close to with your butt up in the stands.
It's not the same. This is something, and this may be because when I was in college, I did a couple of court stormings for the University of West Florida Knights, Argonauts. I did a couple of court stormings for the Argos, and it was just cool, man. It was like a moment. It's a milestone. It's a memory maker.
It was you and 5 other people.
All
'Cause
13
it was
of
small,
us.
it's a small
We
school.
almost
I'm just
covered the-
picturing that.
We almost covered the whole logo at center court. That's how many people. No, it was great. Our team, when I was at UWF, was pretty good. They were in the JUCO tournament, made a couple of big time runs. It was fun, and it was something that created for me as a college kid some pretty dope memories that I got to carry on and still have. When you were out there and you turn around and there you are jumping up and down, celebrating a dub with the starting point guard, you're like, this is the coolest thing, right? It's great. So I don't want it to go away. It's fun. It is a memory maker. It is something that is unique to college basketball. But I also understand you have to protect specifically the away team. Give me 1 minute after the horn to get the away team off the court, and then let's go bananas. Let's party. Let's party like it's 1999.
I think another thing, it's a little bit scarier in arenas, especially with basketball, because tall people are awkward. And I'm not being sarcastic. Really tall people are a little awkward because they're really tall. So you get in the midst of a bunch of people running around. It doesn't take much to hurt one of those basketball players. They can be well built, but
Again,
it's not like they're Andre the Giant out there. I mean,
it's the rational thought, Lonzo. There's been one player this entire season. We're going 3 court stormings a week for 3 months. Well, yeah, okay, 2 with Caitlin Clark. So 3 court stormings a week for 3 months. We have now had 2 players. Now, that is, I agree, that's too many. I will completely concur. That's too many. That is why I want the 60-second buffer. But if we are talking statistically speaking, we have had roughly 100 court stormings this year. We have had 2 players injured. That is a 2% injury rate. And it's not even that, because if I counted player by player as opposed to teams, if I said 5 guys on the floor, you were talking about north of 500 away team players that have been on the floor at the end of an upset that resulted in a court storming. That means you are really sitting on an injury rate of like 0.04%, which I promise you is lower than the injury rate of playing basketball. So on one hand, it is something that is being overblown because of the names and the images attached to it. And I don't want to see something that has been a college basketball tradition for decades and decades now go away because two people got banged up when there is an easy set. Not that I don't want to see it away because of injury. If there wasn't a solution, I'd say it's got to go away. But there's an easy solution right here in front of us. And that's my only point.
Traditions don't matter. Games evolve, just like NIL and transfer portals. Games evolve. Part of the game evolving may be that there are no more court stormings. Wah.
God, you sound like me. Woof. Is that what I sound like? No wonder people hate me.
Yeah, that is.
Unbelievable.
That's exactly.
No wonder people don't like me.
That's exact. Except with louder and a little more emotional. But yeah.
I get it now.
Go, you and apologize. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here. Lonzo, before we come back with our water cooler cheat sheet in the next segment, Lonzo's about to hit you with some sports knowledge. I would dare say infotainment with this sports flash.
Watch your ankles. Clark Watch 2024 moves on as Caitlin Clark continues the march because I'm storming the court while I'm to march for more milestones. The Iowa superstar netted her 16th career triple-double yesterday in a 101-85 victory over Illinois, putting up 24 points, 15 boards, and 10 assists. Iowa is 16-0 when Clark hits the mark. Clark needs 33 more points to pass Kansas' Lynette Woodard for the all-time major college record. A video surfaced yesterday showing former Panthers quarterback Cam Newton involved in a scuffle at a youth football tournament. Newton appears to be shoved by three people before pushing back and trying to escape. We'll get more details on that. We're going to talk about that later. Tune in Wednesday at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Western Carolina right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. It's the Fan, upstate.
Psyduck, easily the best Pokemon.
So imagine 20 of those right around there, just all wound up and ready to go at the beginning of the show.
At this point, there's no college students born before 2000, Rob. They're going to need some of us to show them how to party. Jacob, I've never felt more called to service in my life.
You should feel old. That's what
I
you
do.
should feel. I mean,
I woke up feeling old. Older than I
well, I was going to say, yeah, you should. Since it's your birthday, you should wake up feeling older.
I'm feeling very old today. I don't like it.
Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey. Thank you very much. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America.
I'm talking to America here.
What's up, world? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo on the other side on the ones and twos this morning. Should you would like to be a part of the radio broadcast, now is a spectacular time to make that happen. There are multiple ways that you can do so. The first, of course, is by shooting us a phone call. On the Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, that is 844-326-3663, 844-FAN-FONE. If you want to come at us in that direction, you can text us on the text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You can also, should you elect to do so, shoot us a TweetX post at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. If you want to come at us in that direction, you're welcome to do so. You can hit Lonzo up at Lonzo on Word, at Lonzo on WORD, or you can get everybody at the station at The Fan Upstate on the Twitter. And of course, my email is always open to all of you. Rob.Brown at thefanupstate.com. Rob.Brown at thefanupstate.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it is just after 7 o'clock in the morning, which means that you are less than 1 hour away. Should you have one of those standard 8 to 5ers from getting clocked in, from getting your day started. And if you are less than an hour away from getting your day started, you're less than an hour and a half away from taking your first break. You know, go outside, toss back a heater, or maybe head over to the water cooler and stand around and talk sports with your coworkers. And if you're going to stand around and talk sports with your coworkers, you're going to need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Feel me? For real? Do you feel him, sir?"
I do. First bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
That's good use of that clip. Good use of that clip. Item number 1 on the water cooler cheat sheet. Top 3 sports words you need to know before you go start having sports.
You need to say the full. I was waiting for you to say the thing. You hesitated. It's item number 1 on the water cooler cheat sheet. Then I hit the thing. There was hesitation there. Man, you're losing it already. You just 39.
Apology, I wasn't really.
I cut Shaq off too. I'm just having a bit. You know, you turn 39 years old, and then it's just
because you look on the horizon and there's that 4-0, and you're thinking,
let's be real.
You know,
I have 2 milestones left. 40, dead. That's it. That's what I got
left.
I got 40, and then I got dead.
No, that's not true.
Milestones. I turned 40, and then it's a few more years, and then I'm dead.
No, it's 40, 50, 60, then dead. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I by the way, I hope not, because I'm a lot closer to that than you are. So no.
Just like that. No. All right. 39, 40, death. That's the milestones. All right. Let's get to your water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you go start talking sports with your coworkers at the office. Now we do it correctly. Item number 1. Carolina Panthers are in the midst of the off season. Of course, the next big thing that's got to get done is you got to start putting together your free agency class. Players are available to be engaged in negotiations right now. But the other thing that is allowed to start happening at this point on the calendar is franchise tags. Franchise tags starting to get handed out around the league. Now, the Panthers have yet to officially tag anybody, though the thought is that Brian Burns will ultimately get tagged. Agent Zero will catch a franchise tag, and the belief is that either he will be tagged and they'll work on an extension that goes into play next year, or could be involved in a tag and trade, which is where they will tag Brian Burns in order to maintain the rights to his contract, only to then trade him somewhere else where he can work on that extension. Either way, the thought is Carolina should be theoretically heavily involved in the free agency market. I have said that the strategy for me is going to be target wide receivers in free agency and draft every lineman you can get your hands on in the NFL draft at the end of April. Well, that is a viable strategy, or at least it was. Because one of the biggest fears that I have is there may not be many available wide receivers to be gained in the free agency market, at least not the quality that you are looking for. If you are the Panthers, you are looking for somebody that is a game changer. I don't need another Adam Thielen. I need somebody who can be a number 1. And unfortunately, one of the names that I was looking at is now off the board. Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins has been informed that they plan to hit him with the franchise tag rather than let him test free agency. That report coming from Ian Rappaport. At the wide receiver position, the franchise tag is expected to check in around $21.8 million. The deadline to use the franchise tag is March 5th. Between now and then, the Bengals can still sign T. Higgins to a long-term extension if they can reach an agreement. Now, Higgins is coming off the least productive season of his career, primarily due to 5 games missed with injuries. He posted a career-low 42 receptions, a career-low 656 yards, a career-low 5 touchdowns, and a career-low 42 receptions. But keep in mind, not only did he miss 5 games, but Joey Ice was unavailable due to injury as well. Joe Burrow had that injury early in the season, was not able to recover, and so T. Higgins was working with Jake Browning. T. Higgins has played the role of number 2 in the Bengals offense behind, of course, Jamar Chase, who is entering his 4th season on his rookie deal and will almost certainly have his 5th-year option picked up this off season. T. Higgins can be a number 1 wide receiver. T. Higgins can absolutely be a guy that can carry your offense. T. Higgins is a quality wide receiver. I am begging you, please do not look at T. Higgins' numbers and think that the former Clemson wide receiver is down. He's not. He was banged up for a lot of the season, and he was playing with a backup quarterback for the rest of it. However, either way, doesn't matter if you're a Panther fan, because T. Higgins is off the board, will either get his extension with the Bengals or will be tagged. Let's go to item number 2 on the water cooler cheat sheet. There it is.
I expanded the thing.
And you lost it for a second?
No, I went to the empty cart under it.
Missed the button. Happens to the best of us. I did not know if this is something that you guys are interested in, but I have to assume to some degree it is. If you will take a walk back through time with me, let us go back to the before days. Let us go back to a long, long time ago. Let us take ourselves back to 2020.
If I could turn back time.
35 years ago in 2020, the coronavirus pandemic was raging across America. The country was, by and large, shut down. We were all working from home.
Stop this wee stuff.
You couldn't really go anywhere.
That's essential people never stop coming to work.
Yeah, I'm not essential. I was totally working from home.
Yeah, but I tell you what, man, the roads were so clear. It was amazing.
I'm sure the air was clear. Nature was healing. It was a wonderful, traumatic time to be alive. Okay. So during that pandemic, there were, you may recall as sports fans, no sports going on. There were just no sports. And so we entered what Mark Ryan and I declared to be the most difficult era in the history of our industry.
You know what we did? We won the Star Award.
We did. That's how good we were. We entered a period of time where we were tasked with doing sports talk radio when there were, and this is true, no sports to be radioed.
Your fascination with marble racing during that time was disturbing.
It has not died. I love marble racing. It's a fantastic time passer. So I'm glad you remember that. I love marble racing. So during that period of time,
I am your memory, dude. Come on.
You're not entirely wrong. I mean, I am 39. I'm losing it. So we entered a time where anything was going to hold our attention. It was the era of Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. But there was another documentary series. It was called The Last Dance. You may remember it. It was a documentary that circulated around Michael Jordan and his last run to a title with the Chicago Bulls. And it was a fascinating documentary that took you behind the scenes. And it was that point where Mike said that it was actually food poisoning, not the flu. I still think it was a hangover, but that's another discussion. It was a fascinating time where we were getting the behind-the-scenes stories about Dennis Rodman and the Carmen Electra days. Who could blame him? There was a lot of stories going on. Except for after it was over, there were a number of former Bulls that had a problem with the documentary. Said, hey, it's not entirely true. And that checked out because the documentary had to be signed off on and approved by Michael Jordan, the subject of the documentary.
Winning.
And as I've said many times in the past, if a documentary is made by and signed off on by the guy that the documentary is about, it's kind of hard for me not to be a cynical son of a gun about it. Well, in what is being called by many as petty, Scottie Pippen and other members, Horace Grant, Luke Longley amongst them, of those last few years of Bulls teams are going on a tour together. The tour together is a series of speaking engagements called the No Bull Tour. I'm actually very interested in it. Luke Longley, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, and other Bulls are going to be going around to start Australia and basically giving their side of the story. The side apart from The Last Dance, it is an event that Scottie Pippen said, yes, it's called the No Bull Tour, but, quote, this is going to be a No Bull Tour. Now,
thanks for the clarification, Scotty.
yeah, in case you thought that it was anything else, it's the No Bull Tour.
It's not a play on words. It's just, yeah.
I mean, you get it because they're the Bulls.
Yeah, no.
Bull,
Yeah, that's why you had to explain it.
but also No Bull.
Because he didn't want anyone confused. Yeah.
A lot of NBAers, a lot of former NBAers are calling this petty. They are calling him this, that, and the other. I'm going to tell you right now, I would pay to go see this event.
Yeah, see, that's what it is.
100%.
It's a money grab.
You say whatever you want to say about it. But here's the reality. Why is it? Here's my question. Why is it that this is being decried as a money grab when Jordan's documentary, which he profited off of, we weren't saying that then? Nobody went, oh, Mike, This is a money grab. We all went, oh my God, it's a Michael Jordan documentary. I'm not missing this.
You
But
know what
when
this
the
is?
guys that helped Jordan win 6 rings decide we are going to profit off of the exact same story, the exact same era that Mike made a whole ass documentary about and made money off of, when the rest of those guys that aren't Michael Jordan say, you know what? We want to tell our side of the story after a documentary signed off on by the guy who made it, and it was about, everybody's like, oh, what a money grab. Yeah, of course.
So here's the thing, why not do this right after that came out? Why are you waiting several years later to do it? I mean, don't you want to? No, because, from a money standpoint, don't you hit it while it's hot? And doing this right after that, I mean, I get COVID was going on, but as soon as COVID was lifted, didn't you do that? Why you wait till now? That makes it look more like a money grab.
I don't, for the record, it's 100% a money grab, and I 0% care. I hope they all make $1 billion doing it. I'm good with it because, again, Mike, why did you wait till 2020 to make a documentary about the mid-1990s? Nobody asked that question about. Here's the point that I'm making. Michael Jordan is the most recognized. I will even say, even in the era of Braun, Michael Jordan is the most recognizable basketball player in the history of the sport, and nobody chastised Mike for a money grab. Nobody chastised Mike for waiting 25 years to make a documentary.
I mean, he's recognizable for his shoes now, but for what else? I mean,
he's still Michael Jordan.
Just because people want to bring up the argument. Is he though? I mean, is he for this generation? I don't think so.
He's still
he's a shoe guy. That's what he is.
Even if he's not, I need you to know, and this is true, but those of us who were Mike's generation, while we are very, very close, we ain't dead yet. We still like Mike. We still watch hoops. We still buy the Jordans. In fact, I'm real excited because
that was my point. Without the shoes, he's just a stat line.
But without him being Mike, there ain't no shoes.
Oh, that's true.
We buy. You will notice nobody is out there buying John Stocktons. Nobody's buying Malone.
I just want to point out how many people play Madden. How many kids play Madden and even know who it's named after?
Right, but if it wasn't for Madden, we wouldn't have the game. Doesn't matter that Madden's been dead and is not in the conversation anymore. If John Madden wasn't John Madden, we might have a different version of it, but we wouldn't have the Madden franchise.
Jordan is no longer relevant in the way that he was. He's no longer relevant in the way that he was. Right now, he's just a shoe guy.
I disagree with you entirely, but we'll come back to that because I want to finish the thoughts on this. But I disagree with you. I will say this. The problem I have with people piling on Scotty and the boys for doing this is that all the things they're hitting Scotty and the boys with, all of y'all, and I'm going to use this phrase, and by y'all, me too, but I'm the one defending Scotty here. Bootlicked MJ and didn't ask him any of these questions. Nobody called it a money grab when Jordan approved the documentary about Jordan and signed off and had to make sure that every line that got said in that documentary was cool by Jordan. Nobody went, oh, Mike, this is not okay, man. And we all went, oh, yeah, let's watch the hell out of this. But when everybody on that team who's not Michael Jordan said, hey, it was kind of a bull documentary and it was kind of wrong. We want to tell our side of the story. Now it's a money grab. Now they wait. Why'd you wait so long? Why did Jordan wait 25 years? If he's not culturally relevant anymore, why are we getting that documentary 24 years after he retired?
I have a prediction. Partway through the tour, Tony Kukoc will join the tour and Scotty will go sit down.
That's a real good joke. Scotty said a lot of people really want to ask us questions about that bull documentary, but just come out and get tickets and you'll hear a lot. Scotty, listen, as Lil Paul Heyman, all right, as Lil Paul over here, our truth endorsed, as Lil Paul, I'm going to work with you on your promotional language, all right? Because you don't just go, come get your tickets and you'll find out. You got to be a little more subtle. But I hope this tour makes them all $1 billion. All right, let's get to item number 3. was that?
Royalty walked in the room and they walked out. I don't know if you saw,
Chris.
I clicked the button 3 times and then it finally worked. And then the mouse went a little crazy and I hit no one walked in the room.
Oh,
I was
okay.
making an excuse for the
Okay,
thing going
checks
off.
out. Makes sense. I could have
Thanks
just
for
let it go.
ruining it. Yeah.
Could have just let it go. Didn't do that. Item number 3, we are obviously at this point inside of 2 weeks away from conference tournament time in NCAA basketball. And the question, who's in, who's out? Well, over the years, Joe Lunardi's bracketology on ESPN has become kind of the standard accepted way that we break down the tournament breakdown. He's got his bubble teams. Last 4 buys, Northwestern, Nebraska, Virginia, Nevada. Last 4 in, Seton Hall, Providence, Gonzaga, and A&M. First 4 out, Wake Forest, Ole Miss, Utah, Butler. Next 4 out, Nova, Drake, Cincinnati, and Colorado. But where, pray tell, might we find the Tigers and the Gamecocks in bracketology? Well, with a couple of weeks left until conference tournament time, as of right now, Joe Lunardi in the South bracket, the bracket that will be focused in Dallas, Texas. That is where you will find the Clemson Tigers. And right now, playing out of the Spokane bracket, you will find Clemson at number 5. And a nice little benefit of being that 5 seed, while you are subject to the 12-5 annual upset, the good news is you are in the 5 position that gets you the winner of a play-in game. Right now, Clemson, listed at number 5 in Spokane, out of the Dallas side of the bracket, would catch the winner of the 12-seed play-in game between Providence and Texas A&M. Weird couple of teams there. Texas A&M primarily, one of the most up and down teams, one of the most Jekyll and Hyde teams in college basketball right now. They have games they come out and they look like they can beat anybody on planet Earth. They have other games they come out and they look tragic. So not a bad spot for Clemson. South Carolina, you're going to find them in the Eastern bracket with a first game in Charlotte, North Carolina, where they take on the Nevada Wolfpack. They are listed right now as a 7 seed. We saw South Carolina projected as high as a 5 seed at one point. But of course, a couple of L's, including a beatdown at the hands of Auburn, have dropped them a couple of seeds down to number 7. The problem isn't Nevada at number 10. The problem is the AQ out of the ACC you would catch in round 2. That would be the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Come on and raise up. We could have an SCNC showdown in round 2 up in Charlotte if bracketology ends up being correct. So South Carolina listed today after this weekend as a 7 seed. Clemson, after a win over Florida State this weekend, now listed as a 5 seed, catching the winner of Providence and Texas A&M. And that's where they stand in the tournament right now. There's your water cooler cheat sheet, top 3 stories you need to know. Let us run to a break. And when we come back, we have got a ton of things that we need to get into. But I want to talk about the fights, multiple fights that took place around the NBA this weekend, including some audio that I adore, like Draymond Green. We're going to talk about that coming up on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, got to do a live read right here. Y'all stay right there. We will be right back. right, dudes, we are back. Thanks for hanging out, man. Happy to have all you guys on the stream.
Performance.
Performance.
Wow. And then there's a truck across the street that says performance on it. Awesome.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options and easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations. Take control of your listening experience with Bluewire on the Odyssey. No worries.
So we talk a lot about unwritten rules on this show. And I wanted to talk about those again here for just a minute, primarily after the weekend that we just had in the National Basketball Association. Multiple fights taking place around the league and taking place because of unwritten rules violations. Let's start with a contest that took place between the Miami Heat and the New Orleans Pelicans. Late in the game, the Pels trail the Heat by a couple of points. Zion Williamson on the floor ends up stealing the ball away from a Heat player after a missed Pelican shot. He goes up for the board, and Kevin Love, who, yes, is still a thing, Kevin Love grabs Zion in a full bear hug as Z is going up for a shot. Now, you all know the history of Zion Williamson. He has struggled with injuries throughout his career. So being bear hugged by Kevin Love as he went up for a basket and being taken down to the ground was not something that the Pelicans were happy about in this happened.
And tempers are flaring here in New Orleans.
Oh, no. What just happened? Najee Marshall. Jimmy Butler. It all started with a Kevin Love foul on Zion. Oh, it's broken out again. Valanciunas threw a haymaker at Thomas Bryant, excuse me. Oh, things have turned ugly here in New Orleans.
Oh, my. Who says a foul here? I mean, this is just a...
Zion took it away.
Here's the wrap-up right here. He falls down, and
it was not an overly hard foul.
It wasn't an overly hard foul, and this is... And you're going to see the choke right there, and that sets up off Jimmy Butler. And all of a sudden, pandemonium.
And look at Bryant and Alvarado at the top of your picture.
We will be going for a potential flagrant and then a hostile act that does not dissolve.
See them right there, right at the table, Alvarado and Bryant. Oh, and then
looked like Alvarado threw a punch
at Thomas Bryant.
Right, he had Willie Green standing next to him to help break it up, of course.
So after this all went down, the NBA ended up suspending 5 players because of their role in that incident. Jimmy Butler is one of them. Najee Marshall was also suspended 1 game. Jose Alvarado of the Pelicans and Heat center Thomas Bryant both suspended 3 games each for leaving the bench area during the on-court altercation. And Miami forward Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, was also suspended 1 game for leaving the bench. Now, that was not the only dust-up that took place over in the Hornets-Warriors game. It ended with a brief bit of chaos as well.
The Warriors, 10-2. That's going to be a goaltend. Watch out. Miles Bridges did not like the fact that Quinones went to score that one. The reason he shot that is there's a difference between the game and the shot clock. Look at this. They're all out there. Coach Kerr's trying to break them up. Big John's got Quinones hemmed up. And now you don't want to get it over near the bench. You got Grant Williams going at and nobody in the Warriors left the bench, which was smart. Grant Williams is going at the security guards. Easy now. Yeah, Grant Williams, I told you he's an agitator, so you know he was going to be in the middle of things. Draymond's not backing down from anybody. The Warriors, nobody on the Warriors is backing down. What Steve is just saying is there was a difference with the game and the shot clock. You know, if the shot clock was off, you're never going to shoot. This is what I hate about these unwritten rules. Who cares? And Miles Bridges gets mad. He's like, he pushes him. Like, how could you do that? Why would you try to score? Come on, man. Like, this is not
an altercation
that
does not immediately dissolve. The entire altercation is under review.
I appreciate the Dubs announcer there going, hey, man, like, don't be like, I understand the unwritten rules, but don't be dumb.
But do you understand the unwritten rules? I
Yes.
mean,
I understand them just because I don't.
No, I was talking about anybody. I mean, because they it might be different team to team.
I think that, and obviously it depends on the sport you are talking about, but more often than not, yes, I understand the unwritten rules, and I don't have to agree with the concept to understand what they are. There are rules in all sports that I don't like the rules, but I understand why they're there, even if I disagree with the foundation. The concept of you've already beat me, don't show me up is one thing. And that's basically what the Hornets were mad about, right? That's what Grant Williams was mad about. You've already beat us, don't show us up. But that brings us to Draymond Green. And I would like to play a little game that we call, hold up, we're going to play you noted agitator Draymond Green's post-game press conference answer when he was asked about this. And I'm going to play it not because he gives some deep, insightful thought, but because when we played it this morning, when I started it in order to get angry at Draymond Green, because he said, hey, Grant's got to knock off that tough guy BS. I clicked play to be big mad. this AM, and instead, Lonzo and I found ourselves in the fortress of nerditude laughing at Draymond. Actually, laughing with Draymond because he's unfortunately very funny. So we're going to play a game called Hold Up, where we're going to roll the audio. And if any point Lonzo or I would like to add commentary, we simply say, hold up. We pause the audio. We insert our brilliance, and then we roll on. Let's go to noted pain in the Draymond Green.
Yeah, I don't really understand why people get so mad at like somebody scoring at the end of the game. It's like this dumb, unofficial, unwritten rule.
Hold up. Thank you, Draymond. That's all I have. Keep going.
That everybody get mad. Like, if y'all were winning by 13 points, would you get mad if he laid the ball up? I doubt it. And so it's kind of like a sore loser type thing. Like, and you know, Miles is my guy. That's my little brother. So I'm not going to sit here and go in on Miles. Miles can do no wrong to me. But Grant Williams got to stop it, man. He can't keep being like this tough guy is going absolutely wrong for him.
Okay, hold up. The tough guy. Being the tough guy. Did he mean I'm the tough guy? Nobody else can be the tough guy. I mean, look at me.
So Grant Williams is a dude that before he was with Charlotte, he was with Dallas. Before he was with Dallas, he was with Boston. He was sent away from both of those teams unceremoniously because he kind of has a history of being, you know, that guy that goes to the bar and he's the one that picks fights and then he expects all his boys to get up in it and defend him. That's kind of been this guy's tenure.
Yeah, there's one of those in every group.
100%. And that guy sucks. He might be your best friend, and you'll be like, hey, bud, you're my best friend, and you suck, dude.
Yeah, Jerry.
You gotta stop,
suck.
Jerry. You gotta stop,
I don't know why I picked that name specifically. Yeah, I do. Actually.
Nobody likes Jerry.
Exactly.
Keep going.
Like, he's a really nice guy. And for some reason, he keeps like trying to jump on the unlikable side. And I must tell you, it's not always fun over here.
Hold up. Draymond, thank you. Thank you, my guy. I don't like you. You're absolutely a pain in the rear end. You are absolutely a fake tough guy. But thank you, because if there's one thing about a great heel that we appreciate, Lonzo, what is it? That they freaking own it. This is what I said. I got a promo running right now about Jim Harbaugh where I'm like, Jim, stop trying to be the likable guy. Stop trying to be like, oh, everybody's out to get us and it's not fair because we're real good people. No. Just own it. Just own it. Just own being the bad guy. Draymond just owned being the bad guy. If nothing else, I still don't like you, but I appreciate that.
It's not always a good time. And so, I don't know, man. He need to figure it out. Because, boy, I mean, talking too much kind of got you out of Dallas. Like, overdoing it. And he over there talking too much now. So, you might want to slow down and stop all the tough guy stuff. You know, you want to be the president of PA and stuff, man. You can't be out here doing all that stuff. You don't see CJ McCollum running around being a tough guy. Chris was tough as hell as the Players Association president, but like CP's 6 feet. Like, you gotta have.
Hold up. He just proved my point, man. Short people. Short people.
Some nastiness to you to be that great and be 6 feet tall. I don't know what Grant Williams out here doing, man. That dude is he into it with everybody this year. And then he came over to our bench, thought he was about to have a friend. Ain't no friends for you over here, my man.
Hold up. I love that so much. I love that. Because Grant went over after he kind of started this whole thing. Like, he went over to the Warriors bench to be like, hey, you going to come get your boys? No, dude. This is when Jerry picks the fight. Every Jerry, I don't know why we went with Jerry either. Every Jerry.
Oh, I absolutely know why we did. But anyway.
At some point, picks a fight, looks to his boys to defend him, and you, as Jerry's boy, got to go, no, bro. Let's be real. You earned this ass whooping. You earned this one, dude. This one's on you. You handle it and let it be a lesson. I appreciate Draymond saying that.
Hey, where was Steph during this? Was he hiding under the bench?
Steph literally sat on the bench with a towel over his head, didn't move, watched the whole thing, didn't move. And I loved it, for the record. I loved it because he was going, you're the, like, respect, because I know that it's our market. But he's like, you're the Charlotte Hornets. What do you got? No, I'm not getting in the middle. In fact, and it wasn't just Steph, literally, Zoe, not one Warrior moved from where they were on the sideline. Steph was sitting down with a towel on his head. Dre was on the sideline, arms crossed. Clay wasn't out. None of them moved. It was hysterical. Because if there's one thing Jerry hates more than when his boys don't have his back, it's when he walks up and pushes the guy he wants to pick a fight with, and the guy goes, okay, dude, okay.
Go sit down, Jerry.
Go down there and talk to your guys. You can't come over here and talk to us about what just happened with our players. Like, no, we support him. Also, there's a 2-second differential in the shot clock. Would you like us to take another turnover? We got enough turnovers on this game as it is. With 22 turnovers, you want us to get 23? You also cannot press down 13 with a minute to go. And then somebody shoot a layup with 22 seconds to go. And you get mad. Like, with 2:45, we took our stars out. Go sit down. It's over. Game is over. Go sit down. They didn't want to go sit down. So if y'all still playing, then play. Don't stop now because there's 22 seconds left and you finally feel like it's out of reach. Clearly, we thought it was out of reach at 2:45, which is why Steve took everybody out. So now that you think it's out of reach, it's okay. Like, oh, it ends now. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. And so I'm really sick of guys with this. Like, oh, you scored at the end. Rah! Like, bro, you should have did that a long time ago. And yeah, man. Pray for Grant Williams.
That's the best walk-off line ever, dude. Dre, I don't like you, but I kind of like you right now. I don't like you, but I kind of like you right now. My man hit him with a, hey, you guys were pressing us with a minute left to play, but you got mad we scored with 22. And by the way, the game clock was lower than the shot clock. They had to shoot or just give the ball back to Charlotte. Granted, the game was over, as Draymond pointed out, but he said, you were pressing us full court with a minute left to play down 13, and you got mad we scored. No, that ain't it. And then he walked them off with, pray for Grant Williams, man. Chuckle. Damn it, Dre. I do not like you. You're a scourge on the game. But God, you're good with the microphone, and it is infuriating. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Two minutes.
Beautimus. All right, guys, be back in 60 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Seconds, nailed it. Henry Cavill wants to star in a movie adaptation of Red Dead Redemption. Yes, please.
He's already working on Warhammer and Highlander. And he wants to be Captain Britain.
And he wants to be John Morgan.
I mean, you know.
Arthur Morgan, sorry. John Morgan's an attorney.
And he should have been James Bond. I mean, there's just a lot of things. Thanks, Mr. Chris.
Wrapping up hour number 2 of our 4-hour sports talk extravaganza right here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Talked a little bit about the NBA's unwritten rules, the unwritten rules of sports. I have, listen, I think it's not quite as easy as saying, if it's a rule, write it down, because a lot of these are about unwritten rules come from ego. That's where they come from, and the reality here is ego is hard to contain. You don't make it to the NBA or the NFL or the Major League Baseball ranks without having been a kid who was told yes your whole life. I've watched it play out in person, both as a kid and as a broadcasting almost professional. I've watched it play out. I watched a kid who went to my high school, who went on to a major D1 university and set records there. I watched this kid get away with everything for 4 years. Everything. I've told the stories on this show before. And for some reason, people were absolutely stunned when he got to the D1 university and was kind of a jerk. And people were stunned when he got drafted to the NFL and he washed out after 2 years. You want to know why he washed out? I know why he washed out. I've talked to him about it. He washed out because in his first year, when he was trying to make the team, he played for a very well-known old school gruff coach. Hell, I'll tell you, he played for Tom Coughlin. And in one of his first practices, he told Tom Coughlin when a route in the scheme was designed for him to go across the middle, I don't go across the middle. This is a guy trying to make an NFL roster. Told Tom Coughlin, I don't go across the middle. Tom said, you do on this play. And he said, Coach, I don't go across the middle. I'm not built for that.
Tom Coughlin, from all accounts, is like one of the meanest coaches of all time in the NFL.
It's a complete crap. Tom Coughlin takes none of it. So guess where that kid ended up playing his first year as an NFL rookie after being drafted on the practice squad. Then in his next year on the practice squad, he pulled the same stunt. Told a coach, I'm not running that route. That's not my route. That's not on my route tree. Guy said, you're a practice squad receiver, buddy. Every route is a route you run on the practice squad. And he said no. And he was out of the league just like that. Now, I can happily say that he is completely matured as a person. But athletes at the highest level have an ego. That's because we celebrate sports so much. It's kind of on us. It's kind of our fault. So these guys get mad. Oh, you don't have to run up the score. You're humiliating us. But this is also why I've said, and I know that I've taken some heat. There is a reason that I have said Little League sports are important. And part of the Little League sports, and I don't care how good the kid is learning how to lose. Is learning how to be coached, is learning how to be told no, or do this or you're not playing. I've told the story before. My dad sat me for an all-star championship game that I was scheduled to pitch, and I was a good pitcher. He sat me. Why? Because I wouldn't turn my hat around during batting practice. Now, the lesson there was not do what I say. The lesson there was sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do for the betterment of the team. Sometimes you've got to do things that you may think are silly or frivolous for the good of the team. And I learned how to A, be coached, and B, do something I don't necessarily love or even think is dumb for the betterment of the team. These guys have egos because of the way that we celebrate sports, because of the way when someone stands out at a sport, they don't get told no. People fawn over them. Women throw themselves at professional athletes. We as dudes fall over backwards to just be around them. Hell, I include myself in that number. I spent Saturday just like yes manning and hype manning a pro wrestler. It was great. It was awesome. It was like a lifelong experience, man. It was great. That's where these unwritten rules come from. And unfortunately, by the time they get to the NBA, that character trait is ingrained in them. They've spent, at the minimum as an NBA player, at the minimum, 10, 12 years being told they're great, they're amazing, they're the best at everything, you're super stellar, your teachers are doing your homework for you. And by the way, I watched a teacher get ripped in high school because she was going to give this elite receiver a grade that would have lowered his GPA far enough that he could not have played football. This was a D1 scholarship athlete his sophomore year getting offers. And she was going to fail. She was going to flunk him from a class he didn't show up for, which means he couldn't have played football. And she got beat up enough that she changed him to a D so he could play ball. So no, it wasn't a shock to me that when this kid ended up playing big-time ball, he was kind of a jerk. Why wouldn't he be? They literally changed the actual results of his actual life just so he could play football. It's not a shock. It doesn't shock anybody. Or at least it shouldn't at this point. So when this kind of stuff happens because of the unwritten rules, like Draymond's right when he said it's kind of a sore loser mentality. But yes, because and this is why I got frustrated. I know we had some fun last week when I was talking about my nephew's Little League basketball game, and I was kind of beating up on the fact that they don't keep score. My nephew comes up to me, he's like, "Who won?" And I'm like, "You lost. You lost. Your team lost." And he was real sad. He was real sad. My brother's like, "Well, we don't keep score. We don't keep score. We're like, we don't, we want them to enjoy playing the game." I'm like, dude, you have to learn how to lose. You have to learn if you can't learn how to lose on a basketball floor, how the hell are you going to deal with an L in real life? Hell, if I couldn't deal with L's in real life in this industry, I'd be doing something else right now, because you get handed L's routinely in this business. And you got to learn how to work through them. This is why, and I know it's kind of been like a running joke on the show, but this is why I've said Little League sports are something that all of us, even if you don't have kids, should support. Because these kids, you've got to learn how to take an L. You've got to understand that your real world circumstances have an impact, have consequences on every aspect of your life. So when these guys get to the show and they're getting mad that the other team scored a bucket with 22 seconds left to play in a game where the objective of the game is to checks notes, score buckets, it's a little frustrating. It's a little frustrating because we've all been dunked on, metaphorically speaking, in real life. We've all been dunked on. And if you don't know how to deal with it in our real world, you get kicked out. You get fired. You get whatever. You got to learn to get dunked on. You got to learn to take the L, and you got to learn to translate that into how do I get better and move forward. I can't have guys throwing fists at each other because of unwritten rules. It's a joke. And I'm not an athletes or role models kind of guy, but I also understand reality. I get it. Let's take a break. My name is Rob Brown. The Great One Lonzo is not only on the ones and twos, not only the EP, not only Alpha and the Omega, but he is also the bringer of the Sports Flash.
About to dunk on this thing. You'll see the Panthers and the rest of the league will have a bit more room to breathe as the NFL has announced the 2024 salary cap will be raised to a record $255.5 million this year, a $30.6 million increase. The jump is the largest single-year jump in the history of the salary cap, dating back to 1994. 2 weeks before conference tournament, and both Clemson and South Carolina have been named tournament locks by ESPN's bracketology. South Carolina is projected to be a 7 seed in the East, joining 1 seed UConn and 2 seed North Carolina. Clemson is projected as a 7 seed in the South, joining 1 seed Houston and 2 seed Tennessee. So both going dancing, according to bracketology. Tune in Wednesday at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Western Carolina right here on this very station on your home for Paladins football and basketball. That would be us, the Fan, Upstate. Windmill dunk. That's what that was. Windmill dunk.
Get ready. This week, Staples has deals so good, you're going to want to sit down. Are you sitting? I'll wait. Great. Right now, during Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $180 on select chairs. That's up to $180 off desk chairs, up to $180 off computer chairs, and up to $180 off gaming chairs.
Excellent sports.
It was a windmill dunk.
You what?
It was a windmill dunk
It was.
over a 7-footer. Because, you know.
Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate you, buddy. I love you. You're the best. It means the world to me, man. Sincerely.
Does it?
It does.
Wow, boy, it sounded like it. I just was, man.
mean it.
I was nearly in tears with the, you know.
I
It's,
mean it. I'm not a big birthday guy.
that's weird.
I also
Because you're a person. Hey, let's celebrate. Hey, let's celebrate. Hey, let's celebrate. Nope, birthday. Don't want anything to do with that. No, thank you. I don't think it's modesty.
I like celebrating where everybody's included, not
How-
where the focus is.
Why would everyone not be included in the celebration of your life, Rob? That just doesn't make sense. By you not wanting to celebrate your birthday, you're taking it away from everyone else who wants to celebrate your birthday. It's very selfish.
I'm a selfish guy.
Just want to point out, not everybody gets that kind of love on their birthday. So you should be very appreciative of it. I do. I'm not saying that I don't. I'm just talking about, you know, regular people out there. I don't know any regular people, but I'm guessing that they probably have, you know, feel bad when there's no one. I'm just saying.
Cindy Crawford out here netting goals at the Blackhawks game. Shooting a hockey puck's hard.
It looks like it would be because you got to stay upright on skates while you do it too.
What's up? What's up, man?
Hour numero tres of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Good morning, America. What's up, world?
Hey, aren't you glad we're not those stiff guys who just had an interview and then try to pretend like they moved on afterwards instead of saying, man, that was really cool? I mean, that was like 3 days ago, and you got to spend time with R-Truth yesterday.
Dude,
I mean,
super dope.
I mean, not everyone gets to do that.
Can I tell you how cool it is when, you know, I have learned the reason behind the old never meet your heroes adage over my life. I have met a lot of athletes that, you know, you love them as athletes, and then you meet them and it turns out that they're a jerk or they're closed off. And I get it, man. Like with that level of fame and celebrity, if there's anybody that knows that, obviously it's Lonzo and I. But with that level of fame and notoriety,
Paparazzi can sour you, though.
it's unbelievable. And for the record, I am joking. I love it. I mean this. I love when you guys come up and say hi when I'm out in public. Lonzo loves it when people come give him hugs. It's his favorite thing.
Hand hugs.
At the Swamp Harvest game, had a young man by the name of Chris came up to me and was like, I listen to you and Lonzo every day. I love y'all's show. Thank y'all for what you do. And I was there, as a matter of fact, hanging out at the hockey game during a break with our boy Joey B. And I looked over and I said, I got to tell you, dude, I've been in this game 17 years almost. Never gets old. Never gets old. But I also understand I'm not a world famous pro athlete, right? I'm sure after so many times of not being able to go anywhere without being hounded, it probably gets old. But this dude, R-Truth, real deal, man. He was cool. I watched him. We had to walk 20 yards from where the meet and greet was being held to the elevator to take us down to the Zam Tunnel, right? Where he was hanging out to be out of the general
Zam Tunnel.
Zam Tunnel, man. It's where the cool kids hang. And I watched this dude, R-Truth, get asked for probably, not exaggerating, 17 selfies over the course of like 20 yards, maybe 20 yards. And every single one of them, he was like, yeah, man, absolutely. Let's do this thing. Let's take a picture. Threw up his hand sign, smiled, like had the time of his life. It was very cool to watch that dude play out. I have seen the "don't meet your heroes" adage many times. This dude is, as the kids say, Lonzo, a real one. He's a real one.
Still will go down so far the most comfortable interview I've ever been a part of.
What's up, man?
Like, he's just that guy all the time. It was great. I've got a buddy down in South Florida who has 2 kids, and R-Truth is their favorite wrestler. They love it. And how couldn't you, dude? He's the funniest man in the game. So I was like, hey, I hate to ask. I know you've been asked a million times. Could I ask you to take like a 5-second video? Just tell them hi. He's like, yeah, for sure. He goes, what's their names? I told him the names. I was like, hey, Nick and Dante. I'm at a hockey game, and this dude wanted to say hi, and I gave the camera the truth. And he looks, he goes, Nick, Dante, can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all write a letter to the Judgment Day? Because they won't listen to me, man. And like did this whole, like in kayfabe, did this whole thing for these 2 kids over a video that he didn't know who they were. Man, it was great. Signed off in the video. He's like, wish y'all could be here. Y'all be good. See you on Raw. It was great. Then, by the way, Truth shows up at the game, and he goes, hey, I got 20 tickets to Raw I want to give to some fans tonight. Is that cool? He's asking us, is it cool if I walk around and just hand out tickets to come see Monday Night Raw in a couple of months to a bunch of y'all's fans? The bits were like, yeah, absolutely. So Truth himself just walks out and just starts handing out tickets. It was great. This dude's a real one, man. It was cool.
And the other cool thing about him is he understands how to use social media. He's on TikTok. He's on YouTube. He's throwing up videos all the time.
He's great.
Yeah. I mean, the Austria video that he put up like almost immediately after he was on the air with us, that he was in Austria instead of Australia, which was awesome.
Man, it was awesome, dude. They were so cool. Or he was so cool. The folks from WWE that made it happen were great. It was awesome, man. It was awesome, and it was appreciated. All right. Let's get to some sports. Let's see. James popped in. He said, truth is about 13 years ago, he made my son's day when CM Punk wouldn't take a picture with him. My son was 6 and he saw it and spent the next 30 minutes hanging out with him. That's awesome, dude. He was 100% that guy. 100% that guy. Texture said real sports. All I'm going to tell you is I had a stadium of 5,000 people screaming, what's up on Sunday afternoon. It was fantastic. All right. Real sports. Let's get to it.
Wait, I'm curious, Texter. Why don't you text back and tell us how you define a real sport? Because I'm curious.
Real sports.
Yeah, you tell. Give us your top 3 real sport, Texter.
I have a real sport for you. It's college football. Segue. Very good at this job. Here's a college football story that came out over the weekend in NASCAR. In NASCAR, we have a term called the silly season. And silly season in NASCAR, it's effectively the off season, but it's the point in time where drivers are changing teams, crew chiefs are changing teams, charters are being changed from squad A to squad B. It's when the chaos happens. College football's having one of those in the coaching world right now. This one is very interesting. We learned over the weekend that James Coley, who was recently hired on to become the South Carolina wide receivers coach, stayed on board for a little while and is now leaving to go back to Georgia. Previously coached at Georgia from 2016 to 2019, went to Texas A&M the last 4 seasons. Obviously, there was a coaching change at Texas A&M. Left Texas A&M, came to South Carolina, was on the staff there for like a couple of weeks, and now he's headed over to the University of Georgia. And as I looked through the responses from South Carolina fans who were like, oh, what a bad look. And I will even tell you, I had a knee-jerk reaction. I put it on Twitter. I'm like, not a great look for Shane Beamer. And the gut reaction was, it's not. But I thought about this a little bit more over the course of the weekend and up through the start of the show today when I was putting the show rundown together. It might not be as bad as I thought it was. It is a gut check bad look. You hire a guy, he's on campus for a month, and then he's like, nah, I'm out. It is understandable that the instant reaction, and I will be honest with you, I fell against my own advice, my knee-jerk reaction. I try not to do that. A gut-checked reaction to, oh, that's not good. What a bad look for Shano. What a bad look for the Gamecocks. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's a good look. It's fine. Everything's fine. What I am going to say is this.
Don't be a mark like that. Just don't do that. It's a wrestling term, by the way.
It is. Fake sport. It is still, I'm not going to sit here and argue, oh, it's a good look that you brought in this guy, high-level recruiter, vaunted recruiter, good wide receiver coach. It is not a good look that he showed up, worked for a month, and then took off to go to another job. But it harkens back to a conversation that we had on the show last week. Last week, we talked about the concept of improvement for a college football program. And we talked about the fact that the mark for improvement is going to be subjective, and it's going to be different for everybody. Lonzo's only mark of improvement is, did you win more games than last year? That's not it for me. And that's okay. It's very subjective. Mark for improvement is different from person to person. Room for improvement is not. That is objective. There is room for improvement. And unless you are batting 1,000, there is always room for improvement, no matter how good you are. Unless you win every single contest, and within those contests, you win every single little detail, there's always room for improvement. And I think every elite athlete, including myself, will tell you that. Georgia has room for improvement as a football program. They did not go undefeated last year. They lost to Alabama in the SEC title game. It cost them a playoff spot. Georgia has, undoubtedly, room for improvement. Anybody disagree? No, didn't think so. But room for improvement is different. Georgia does not have the room for improvement that South Carolina does. Georgia may not be on the mountaintop right now, but they only took they did not come tumbling down off Mount College football. They still reside very close to the top of Mount College football. You know, like in the old cartoons when Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, or the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote would be fighting. Yeah, I know I screwed that up. The Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote would be fighting on the top of the hill, and one would fall off the ledge, and then the camera would pan over, and it would show them hanging on the one random stick hanging out of the side of the mountain for no reason with a sign that says help on it. That's where Georgia is, man. They didn't fall off the mountain. They just went a little bit down, and now they're hanging on that tree branch, and it should be pretty easy to pull themselves right back up. So James Coley has an opportunity here. He can come recruit for, and he can come coach for a program that has all the room for improvement. A team that is like 7 steps up the Mount Olympus that is college football. Or he can go coach for a team that's 3 steps away from the summit. Now, you can judge James Coley for his decision, sure. You can go, okay, that's the easy way out, right?
Have you ever went to another job and went, wow, I screwed up?
Oh, hell yeah.
And it may not be because, oh, this is a bad place, but you just knew that you were not a good fit there.
100%. I literally worked for a local county government organization as their PR guy once. And I knew within a week of being there, I have made a huge mistake. That job paid more money than any other job I have ever done in this industry, anywhere ever. I realized 2 weeks in, I'm like, I've made a mistake. I signed a 2-year contract to be here. I have made a mistake. It was a bad call. That happens. I'm not going to say that James Coley showed up in Columbia and went, oh, I've made a mistake. I'm not going to say he showed up in Columbia and went, oh, this is a bad decision. I don't fit in here. He got a call from Georgia that said, we want you here. He got a call from a team that is, again, maybe they're not standing with the flag planted squarely on top of Mount College football, but a team that's an arm's length away and holding the flag ready to plant it. South Carolina ain't that. You know, I compare a lot back to this industry, as we all do, because, hey, look, we know where we are. We know how this game gets played. A lot of times in this industry, guy shows up, starts a job, works it for a little while, gets an opportunity to move up in market, gets an opportunity to go to a bigger, better job, and they go. And my reaction has always been, you got to step up. I'm not mad at you for it, right? And I feel that way about James Coley. No issue with him taking that job. Even on a short term of employment in Columbia, my man got the call to move up. When I auditioned for this job, and the boss said, hey, we want somebody who's going to be here for a while. Do you think you're going to be here for a number of years? And I said, man, I'm going to tell you right now, in my short time here, the only way that I am leaving is if I get an opportunity that when I walk in and tell you about it, you go, congratulations. We're proud of you. Good luck. Call us if you need anything. That's the only way I'm leaving, because I love this job. I love this area. The only way I'm out is if I get the call and I come to you and go, boss, I got this job offer. And you go, that's a hell of a job, man. Congratulations. That's it. That's the call James Coley got. That's the call that James Coley got. He got a call to move up to the biggest market. I can't be mad at him for that. That's not the look that you should be upset about. I mean, you could be mad at James Coley for taking the job and then moving on, but the Georgia job likely wasn't on the table when he got the South Carolina job. Here's the way I look at it. South Carolina right now is viewed by a guy that is considered one of the better recruiters in college football, one of the better coaches available in college football. And not only did he take the call from Shane Beamer, but he took the job from Shane Beamer. He was like, yep, I'll be there. That says to me that a highly vaunted, highly touted, and highly valued coach decided that Columbia was a spot that he could work at. He could be. He was at A&M because Jimbo was there, and Jimbo had money to hand out. Good job. Good job, good pay. And then he decided Columbia's a good place to work. The only team that got him out of Columbia was what? A team that was probably, if you ask Georgia fans, a blown PI call away from playing for a natty. And frankly, had they made the playoffs, probably would have won it, or at least been in it with the Michigan Wolverines. It is what it is. You got a call from a big market. The actual story you should be concerned about here is the fact that Justin Stepp, who was the wide receiver coach, was basically demoted in order to bring in James Coley, and then Coley moved on. I want to be very clear here. I can't be mad at Shane Beamer for swinging the bat. I can't. Yes, you're in a spot now where you have no James Coley. You have no James Stepp in that position. I understand Shane swinging the bat. This is, you get a crack at a James Coley, you take it. You take it. It didn't work out. That stinks. And it stinks in the way that this whole thing with Stepp played out, with Justin Stepp played out. It stinks that you demoted that guy. It stinks that you brought in this new guy. But if you are in Shane Beamer's spot, you have to swing for the fences. You ain't Georgia. Georgia, we got a text a minute ago that said, in fact, let me read it. It says, Rob, not a Carolina fan of all, but it's sort of on UGA to poach a coach. Dude, college football is a business, and you have to stop pretending it's not.
I think this is less of a big deal than when a head coach does this.
I both agree and disagree.
Because the head coach is more impactful. I mean, this is still, it's not good when you got a position filled and then suddenly you don't. But in the head coach's case, he's coming, bringing people with him, and then he decides to go somewhere else.
Sure.
Then all those people don't have jobs.
Sure. I don't disagree. I'm going to tell you right now. This is what happens when you have the mindset that anybody hired to come coach at my school should have the same passion about my school that I have about my school. Newsflash. They do not. They never have. Maybe if they've coached there for 10, 12, 15 years, they develop it. But a guy who has been at 3 different schools over the past 6 years does not have the same passion that you have about the school. There is one negative. The negative here is this. It gets real hard to hire more guys down the line if they look and go, you demoted a guy within your staff. You moved past the guy who was kind of a big deal on your staff. You move past that guy to bring in a name. Sucks that name screwed you, but all you're telling me is that down the line, if I come there to coach and I'm your position coach at whatever position, and then another big name becomes available, you're willing to let that guy step right over me and take the job that I'm obviously angling to get. Why am I going to come work for you? But when you're in the position that South Carolina's in, you have to take that chance. You don't get a ton of cracks at a guy like James Coley. Those type of dudes don't come around very often. And the fact that he was willing to come to Columbia, it sucks for Justin Stepp. I'm not arguing. Sucks for that guy. But you got to take a swing, man. You got to bring in a big name. You got to bring in a recruiter. And listen, I got a text that said, Rob, the true issue is that Justin Stepp was their best recruiter. Maybe so. James Coley is a well-known, vaunted, highly sought-after recruiter as well. You were replacing a great recruiter with a great recruiter and a guy who has been a great coach everywhere he's gone, or is at least that's the opinion of him amongst the college football circles. This is what happens when you are, I'm sorry to say, don't take it the wrong way, a mid-team. You're a mid-team right now. Doesn't mean that you are fated to forever be a mid-team. I don't know how many times I've told you, I don't think there is any reason that the Gamecocks can't make their way into elite territory down the line. It's not going to be easy, but it's very possible. But you're mid right now. That's not an insult. It just is what it is. And you had the chance to go get a guy that, just to put it out there in the most simple term I can do it, that Kirby Smart wanted. Kirby Smart, considered by many to be the best active coach in college football now that Nick Saban is gone. Kirby Smart is joining Dabo Swinney and, unless you ask Alonzo, Ryan Day in the list of elite college football coaches. Kirby Smart wanted this guy, a guy that Shane swung for and signed, and then he moved on. It stinks. I'm not disagreeing. It sucks. But Shane had to take that shot. Shane had to take that shot. He took that shot. Did you gamble on what would happen if he moved on? Sure did, but you are a mid-team. Hirings like James Coley are the type of moves, if they work out, that elevate you from mid to above mid, and hopefully one day from above mid to good. That is the spot that you are in.
Wait. So mid is below good?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's mid, above mid, good, above good, excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mid
for
is
that.
middle. Good is above middle.
Okay.
So you're a mid program right now. You're looked at. You're viewed at nationally as a mid program.
So mid is mostly bad then.
No, mid is mid. Mid is mid. If mid wasn't mid, we wouldn't use mid as a word. We'd say there's bad and then there's good. But between bad and good is the middle, aka mid. Right? There's jobber, mid, main event. I know. That's what I'm here for. Make your life better. South Carolina is viewed somewhere between jobber and mid card right now. You want to move up to main event? You want to get acknowledged? You got to make hirings like Coley, and you got to make them stick. I don't know what you do. You can't stop a guy from getting a call from Georgia and going, yeah, I got to take that call. I got to take that job. That's Georgia. I got to take that call. But if you get a crack at it, you got to swing. It stinks about what happened with Justin Stepp. I'm not disagreeing. That's a rough outcome. But man, that's the plan. That's the goal. That's what you have to do. It sucks. It didn't work out. Now you got to work harder to dig out of the hole. But I am not going to fault Shane for taking the swing. I'm not going to fault Shane for making the hiring. I'm not going to fault him for moving Justin Stepp down to bring in James Coley. Sucks it didn't work out. You dug yourself a deeper hole. You had to take the swing, man. We have to take a break now, actually, on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Smith.
All right, guys, one more live reading. We're coming back. Y'all stay right there. Thank you very much.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
All right, we're back, dudes and dudettes.
Terrible teammates. Your birthday was last week. These guys get you anything?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Bad teammates.
Terrible.
I was hoping he said that a little bit louder. Disappointed. All right, supposedly we're supposed to move our cars. We ain't got time to move our cars. We have to wait an hour and a half. This side of the building looks done, doesn't it? I actually looked at it today. It looks really good. And you might be the only person who I would let move my car because of height.
That and the fact I can't promise I wouldn't drag it up and down.
Still,
Darlington one
you
time.
wouldn't move my seat. That's all I care about is my seat. Everybody else around here too short. Oh, Tim. Although Tim ain't moving my car. I'll hear her later, bro, and won't see him for like 2 hours.
Skrilla, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, man. AJ flew halfway across the world and didn't fall off the side. I bet he was surprised. I'm just asking questions, man. Dumb questions, AJ.
He did beat up that no good hack, though. That's all I care about. Loser.
Listen, I get it. I understand. It is remarkably frustrating. Remarkably frustrating when your team's, not what you want it to be. I think is the polite way to say that. When your team's not what you want it to be. I totally understand. But sometimes it sucks. You got to accept reality. The reality is the room for improvement for the Gamecocks is 1.5 miles long. Sometimes you just got to take a shot.
There are teams worse than the Gamecocks. So at least there's
Sure.
that. I mean, it could be Vandy.
Sure. But I'm going to tell you right now, here's your hot take of the day. If you look at where your team is right now, if you're a Gamecock fan, and you're like, well, at least we're not Vandy. Do you know what that is? A loser mentality. It is. It's a loser mentality. Lonzo and I don't walk in here winning multiple South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year awards and go, well, at least we're not podcasters in our mom's basement. No disrespect to podcasters in their mom's basement.
I don't know. The kind of day I'm having, it might as well be. I mean,
Hell no.
They're little tiny mistakes, but, it's still.
Hell no.
We walk in here and what do we say? What do we do today to make sure we win another award? Because we want to go three-time. We want to go back to back. That's what we want. Sometimes you got to take a swing. Zoe and I try weekly on this show. The stuff that doesn't work. Why? Because sometimes stuff does work. And we go, that was good. We got to do more of that. Got to do more of that. That worked. We got to give the people what they want. That worked.
And you got to decide, to not do too much of that thing, because then that's.
My loins have been tingling.
Like play that clip over.
Yeah, because that's it bothers me every single time. Thank goodness our boss is cool. If not, you would have already. Yeah.
So.
Hey man, stick to sports.
Yeah. Sorry. Fell off into the fake sports there. So. That being said. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I was reading through some of the replies from folks on the old internet, and we all know how social media works. Jon Stewart made the point that you can't hardly post a picture of a cute animal on Twitter without someone telling you to screw off. That's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, talk to Elmo about that.
Yeah. Elmo just asked us how we are, and I'm pretty sure I saw Elmo smoking a cigarette the other day because he has not recovered from that moment. It's exactly right. Our buddy Gamecock Dave on Twitter posted the old "It's fine, everything is fine while the room's on fire" meme. I saw at Sandstorm Will. Bro was here for a month. I saw a lot of WTF tweets. I mean the Gamecock fans on Twitter. And again, I will acknowledge, and I'm not just talking about the Gamecock fan base. I'm talking about every team that is a team's fan base. The worst version of the fan base is on Twitter.
All right. So that's not what it is. You see something like that, and then you brace yourself because you know what's coming and you know from whence it's coming. And they all wear orange. And you probably, as that fan base, would do the same thing if it happened to that team.
Oh, for sure. Listen, the other great part about college sports, aside from court storming, is that you're going to dunk on the rival no matter what, right? You're going to get dunked on for this, Gamecocks. That's just kind of how it goes. The problem is when the call comes from inside the house. The problem is when it's your own fan base dunking on your team. And that's kind of what's happening right now. Now, real quick response to one tweet I came across a minute ago. At Bruce Leroy said, quote, "I don't understand how there's just zero honor with these people. I'd be embarrassed to show my face in public if I disregarded my commitments like that." I'm going to guess, and this might be incorrect, but I'm going to guess Georgia's probably paying him more. And if I asked you right now, here, let's play the Rob Brown Show home edition contestant number one, Lonzo. If I asked you to bet your annual salary on who wins a natty sooner, Georgia or South Carolina, what of those two teams would you bet on?
I'm still loving the Bruce Leroy because that's a movie reference. Anyway, yeah, I'm probably going to bet my salary on Georgia winning.
Yes. And that's literally what James Coley just did. He got a bigger salary and then betted on Georgia being more successful, which is not a big bet. The goal here for you, Gamecocks, is to aim to get to where Georgia is. Don't you want to be the team that can cherry pick coaches away from other staffs? You can just have whoever you want because of who you are. The problem is, until you're that, you got to deal with this. And you don't get to be. Georgia was not good for a very long time until Kirby Smart showed up. And he made them good. And now they're that team that gets to cherry pick coaches away from other staffs, even ones that have barely gotten time to buy the polo yet. I don't even know if James Coley had time to buy his Gamecock outfit yet, and he got poached.
I'm guessing those are provided. You know, I don't know if you got to keep it or not.
It's just facetiousness for the sake of radio drama. Oh, the drama. That's what we do here.
Is that a common drama sign? You got to do the... Oh, okay. I didn't see the hand. Oh, that's the Southern drama.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Oh, pearls clutched.
Oh, my Lord.
A Gamecock fan said, "Our program is in shambles, but I've got to give Shane Beamer credit for somehow keeping up the facade." Guys.
What facade? I mean, what's he doing?
A top-notch
Nothing to
coach.
see here. Please disperse.
A top-notch coach got hired by your school. You know what that says about your school? Despite the fact that you are right now, respectfully, mid, you are able, with the facade that you've built up.
It says people want to come there. They just don't want to stay there. I mean,
It says people want to come there. Yes. End of sentence. He got hired away by Georgia. That stinks. But keep in mind that not too long ago, you guys hired a new offensive coordinator in Dow Loggins. Dow Loggins was being looked at by Nick Saban, by Kirby Smart. The biggest names in the game were looking at Dow Loggins, and he ended up in Columbia.
He was also destroyed by a bunch of people in the media saying that he couldn't make it in the NFL. And I mean, there are two sides to everything.
In the NFL.
Yeah,
Let's not pretend he didn't. But, and this is why I always make sure to draw the thickest line possible, that success and failure in the NFL does not mean success or failure at the college ranks, and vice versa. I would like to point out that Nick Saban and Steve Spurrier, basically everybody who's not Pete Carroll, sucked in the NFL. Chip Kelly had a good year in the NFL, and a lot of people love to point out that was a wildly talented Philly team with a wildly talented coaching staff. It wasn't necessarily because of Chip Kelly, because you'll notice that Chip Kelly left, and what happened to the Eagles? Oh, that's right. They were back and winning another Super Bowl very shortly after. So the reality here is I don't care about that. Yes, he stunk as an NFL coordinator. He stunk. But that does not mean that he's not a good college guy. And again, yes, he was a tight ends coach. But he wasn't getting glances from Saban and Smart if he wasn't worth a gamble. And the reality is Dow Loggins is the hiring ceiling. Like, definitely you can get this guy. That's the hiring ceiling of South Carolina, and you got the guy. James Coley was a home run hire. And the fact that he left, he went to the one place that is a guaranteed top job, and that's Georgia.
How many wins does his leaving cost South Carolina?
You can't say any because he never coached a game there. Right? You can't say any. Texter said, South Carolina fan on Twitter, Beamer is a clown. Ran off a great coach in Justin Stepp by bringing in this dude, and now his new guy leaves in a month. Karma. Yes. Here's, James, I know that you are being looked at by Kirby Smart, wildly touted as the best coach running the best program in college football right now. I know that. But I can't hire you here at South Carolina because, reasons. If you want to move from mid to good, you have to swing for the fences sometimes. Shane swung for the fences, and he knock-a-homed. He went yad with that hire. Unfortunately, it bit him a month later. Yes, that's unfortunate. And yes, it would be silly. It would be silly not to say this stings a little bit if you're a South Carolina fan. Yeah, of course it does. You had a top-notch coach at that position. You had a top-notch recruiter nationally at that position, and you lost him to Georgia. But you had to take the swing, man. You had to take the swing. You had to take a risk. You had to take a shot. You took the shot, and it proved nothing else. You're on the radar. You're on the radar. Now, how do you get a guy like that and keep him? How do you get a guy like that and use him as a block, a stepping stone to the next milestone? That's the next question that's got to get answered. Texture said, Rob, Coley knew Beamer is being fired after this year. He gets job security at Georgia. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Look, James Coley is a guy that took a job and then left for another job. You can frown on that and say that's a coward move or whatever, no integrity, whatever. And I'm fine with that. I'm good with all of that.
Apologize for the kitten that sometimes goes off when it thinks
you apologize
when it hears Clemson.
You apologize.
Yeah, I was being sarcastic. Well, like I never apologize. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I screwed up. Sorry, I'll do better. Sorry. Yeah, it sucks. It stings. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't hurt a little bit. Of course it does. But it showed you're on the radar. It showed you're on the map. James Coley didn't go. This isn't Villanova. He didn't get that call and go, come on, dude. Really? He took the call. He took the job.
And then he got an offer from a bigger job. Does it sting? Sure it does. But you had to take the shot. You had to roll the dice. Mongo texts the show. He said, none of that matters. We got Sean Elliott. Love that. Love the hype.
Yeah,
Love
I hope that's sarcasm. I really do.
Dude, I am pumped about Sean Elliott. I'm pumped about that hire. Mainly because the warm-ups are about to be hype as and I'm all in.
Wow. Warm-ups.
James said, hashtag cancel Lonzo.
Yeah, I mean, you have to reach a certain height of popularity or something to be canceled. And
That's fair.
I can't.
That's fair.
I mean, do your thing, James.
All right, so there you go. I do have to send out an apology before we take a break because I use Villanova as an example there, and it just so happened to be that Greenville Triumph president Chris Lewis is a Villanova guy and is listening to the show right now. I was panicking for a name, Chris, and I do not know why Nova came to me first. I should have gone Rutgers or Rice or SMU or anybody else. That is my bad.
Stop your backtracking. Stop.
Apology. I wasn't really.
Stop it. Stand your ground, Rob Brown.
That is Greenville legend Chris Lewis that I just took a shot at his team for no reason.
I think he would.
That's my bad.
I think he's quickly losing respect about how quickly you're backtracking. Surprised you ain't fell down yet.
Joey B said Sean Elliott, aka the poor man's Matt Luke. Wow, what a run! What a run! I love this show. I really do. Let's take a break. My name is Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass is the great Malonzo. We come back and wrap up hour number 3 after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Oh yeah, pick your phone up and really apologize now. What are you doing? All I gotta say is if I dog your team, I'm not apologizing.
You just said you apologize all the time.
Yeah, for making mistakes. Dogging someone's team is not a mistake. If I ever apologize for the Chiefs, I don't think I've ever had a reason to apologize. Yeah, but your email said Friday, Steve. Oh, it says on Monday up there. No, Chris said that. That's true.
whether intentionally or not.
You guys ain't even here. Stop complaining about. And plus, you said Friday. You didn't say today.
Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Rise and shine, sports fans. Grab your coffee and give it.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you. Just a couple of minutes here, so we'll finish out our thoughts on the conversation we've been having here for this hour of the radio broadcast. Look, mid-team's gotta try something. It is what it is. Clemson doesn't have to get wildly experimental. They had a 4-loss year, and it was like a devastating year. 4 losses, 8-4, devastating year.
Back to normal, nearly. They need to lose like 1 or 2 more, and then they'll be back to normal.
Devastating year at 8-4. And yet, that team is already being discussed as a playoff team for next year.
Wait, well, I mean, now that there's 12.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Now that they are 12, they are discussed as a playoff team. And frankly, they should be, without a doubt.
Will the ACC get 2 teams?
Oh, yeah, they will.
You think so?
Yeah, I'll bank on that right now. Yeah. I think Clemson and Florida State are both going to the 12-team playoff next year. I think as long as Florida State is in the ACC title game, they'll get a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge to try to smooth everything over, because I think Florida State fans are going to be freaking obnoxious this year because of what happened this past season, right? Like, here, I'll tell you the depths of my conspiracy theory with that. ESPN College Game Day is doing a Florida State game in Dublin, Ireland, because I promise you ESPN's not sending a crew to Tallahassee.
Yeah,
that's not in a box.
I just don't believe there's as much anger there as there is in this room.
Tallahassee?
Yeah, in this room.
Dude,
I mean, towards ESPN, I think.
Do you
I think
understand
most
where
of
I
it
came from?
No, I'm well aware.
No, I promise you.
But I don't think there's as much anger there as there is in this room.
Let me respond to that. I'm not guessing there is. I am telling you for a fact, as someone who still has a bunch of connections in Tallahassee, there is a reason Game Day is doing the game in Ireland and does not have.
It was scheduled for Ireland. I mean, they didn't go, you know what? We ain't going to Florida. Where can we move it? Oh, you know what? Ireland's available. We'll move the game to Ireland to avoid Florida.
No. The game's been scheduled in Ireland.
Yeah, I know. That's
I am telling you, there will not be another game day in Tallahassee. I promise you. No,
the team's not going to be good this year?
No, the team's going to be good again.
Okay, all right.
You're missing what I'm saying. I am telling you as a certifiable fact, as someone who still has, because I worked an hour and 45 minutes from that city and covered that team at length, as the station I used to work for was the home for FSU football in the Panhandle. I am telling you, the people in Tallahassee are not and will not get over it.
Yeah, but Rob, you said they moved the game. They're doing the game in Ireland, so they won't have to come to Florida.
No, I said they're doing game day in Ireland.
Right.
The game was already scheduled in Ireland.
Okay, they're doing it in Ireland. But you said they're doing it in Ireland because they don't want to come to Florida. I just don't, All
right. The folks in Tallahassee, should Kirk Herbstreit show his face in Tallahassee, are going to lose their mind. Much like you will notice, Roger Goodell does not show up openly at Saints games because they're never going to let it go.
Well, they haven't been good enough for him to show up in a while. I'm not trying to. It just seems like I'm just trying to. But you got to admit that that's the truth, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
All right. Because as an analytics guy, we could go back and look at the record and show that.
Here's
if I was a good deal, I wouldn't show up at any NFC South games because ain't nobody good in the NFC South.
And you'll catch these hands. Listen, I don't know how we ended up here. That's fine. The folks in Tallahassee, Florida, are not letting it go. They will not let it go. There's not going to be a game day in Tallahassee.
So they're going to beat Kirk Herbstreit up? Is that what they're going to do? How could you look into those deep blue eyes and be angry at that guy?
Ask that to the folks in Tallahassee. Okay? Ask that to them.
Well, I think he's a Clemson hack, so I haven't liked him in a long time. But I don't think he goes there and gets beat up.
All right. So you think he's a hack, but the folks in Tallahassee are wrong for thinking he's a hack? I'm just trying to
No. You didn't call him a hack. You made it sound like he wouldn't survive a trip to Florida.
No, I mean, they're not going to murder Kirk Herbstreit.
I think you need to be a little more specific then, because I got some angry mob vibes from how you were talking.
I will do it. If ESPN puts a camera on the streets of Tallahassee that Kirk Herbstreit's around, there's going to be a number of FCC violations at the minimum.
Thank you for your specifics. I appreciate that.
There's going to be a lot of you, Kirk, out of the Knolls.
Going to be some confiscated signs?
Some? They'll fill up the game day bus with the number of confiscated signs. Without a doubt. All right. Anyway, point here is Clemson's going to be back in the playoff next year, and therefore they don't have to go swing for the fences.
So you are guaranteeing that Clemson is in the playoff next year?
Guarantee.
What was the record 2 years ago? I don't remember.
Happy to prognosticate, predict,
and did they get worse last year?
Literally my job.
No, I know. I'm just saying, did they get worse last year than from the year before?
Yes, they did.
So they could continue to go downward.
Yes, they could.
And if so, they would not make the playoff.
Is that your prediction?
It's too early to give a prediction.
No, it's not. We're in sports radio. That's what we do.
Daggum February.
That's what we do.
Let's wait till after the spring game.
We make our predictions before spring practice starts. That's how we roll.
So
Texture says Kirk drinks. He used to said Kurt drinks Bud Light. the shade.
So in order for Clemson to make it into the 12-team playoff, they'd have to be either 1 or 2 in the conference, right?
And I think they will.
So they weren't this past year.
Correct.
Or the year before.
Correct.
But you think they've improved since the last 2 years?
Yes.
I'm just okay.
Yes, I do.
I just think you're going on. Well, they were in the championship a few years ago, so they'll bounce back, and we don't know that they will.
No, we don't. But we speculate. That's what we do.
Okay. Well, I am speculating that you're wrong.
Okay. That's what we're doing. That's the point. That's the point. I am going with Clemson's in the playoff, in the 12-team playoff next year. I believe there will be 2 teams in. I believe Florida State and Clemson will both be in the playoff. I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up facing off in a first-round matchup, to be honest with you. But the point of all of that is they don't have to make big-time swings and hope something works out. South Carolina does. That was it. That was the point. And somehow we got on dumping on Kirk Herbstreit.
No, that was you.
I didn't dump on him. I said Tallahassee's going to.
Okay.
And they absolutely will.
Yeah, but you okay.
Sports Flash.
Best segue ever. Clark Watch 2024 moves on as Caitlin Clark continues to march to more milestones. The Iowa superstar netted her 16th career triple-double yesterday in a 101-85 victory over Illinois, putting up 24 points, 15 boards, and 10 assists. Iowa is 16-0 when Clark hits the mark. Clark needs 33 more points to pass Kansas's Lynette Woodard for the all-time major college record. A video surfaced yesterday showing former Panthers quarterback Cam Newton throwing hands. Well, he was involved in a scuffle at a youth football tournament. Newton appears to be shoved by 3 people before pushing back and trying to escape. He didn't throw hands, but he could have. And if he did, look out, because he's got reach. Tune in Wednesday at 6:30 as the Furman men's basketball team takes on Western Carolina right here on your home for Paladins football and basketball. That would be us right here. It's a fan, upstate. I'm sorry if I doubt the hate. I just doubt the hate and the memory. And it's, it's probably wrong about that, but we'll see. Good thing the game's in Ireland, though. I know, man. His hat's those hats have depth to them, though. I think that probably helps. I only own like one cowboy hat. I don't see me if I'm scuffling, that thing's coming off. They still came at him anyway. What if it was a work? I'm just saying. Maybe it was a podcast work. It's possible. And so Cam comes out and says, I'm going to tell you all about this on his podcast. Then you find out it was a work.
Got another email about moving the cars.
What are we going to do?
I just went and moved my car, and I'm glad I did because they're literally working on his window at his office. Right.
So you're saying I need to move my car?
I'm saying you might want to start the segment. Move your car.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if I was going to pick an NFL player to step to, would not be Cam. I don't care if I was trying to go viral or not.
They're not down there.
Dude, they are literally at Steve's window right now.
I don't see anybody.
I just was right. I was just down there.
Well, I'm telling you, the Decker truck is parked right.
I understand. There are 3 dudes working on the wall in the window on Steve's office. I went down there. I was like, oh, I guess I ought to move him. And I got out, and the dude was like, thanks, man. We needed the room. I was like, oh, yeah, for sure.
Wait a minute. Steve's office is on this side of the door.
Steve's office is right down there. My car was
okay
right by his window.
All right.
Parked in front of his window.
All right. So my car is not in danger technically.
Not right now, no. But I think
and they'd already did this part. I'll go move it.
You make your decision. I'm just telling you what just happened to me.
I don't know why he's still mad. He's still mad. He's still just calm all that down, and I will go move my car. Okay.
I'm not mad. I'm just telling you what just happened to me. What I'm saying is when I said there's 3 guys by the window and you're like, they're not there. Well, I'm not on drugs right now.
I wasn't
because it's early.
All right. I can't see them.
There you go.
All
I
right.
can accept that.
You just need to calm down. You're just too angry, man. Yeah. Listen to Taylor.
I'm not angry.
You're very.
I'm telling you. I walked out the door. There were 3 dudes pressure washing next to my car, so I moved it.
All right, I'm going.
And then you're like, no, there's not. Yeah, who do you think I was talking to?
All right, just stop it.
Lonzo's going to move his car.
Oh, way to ruin the bit.
The final hour of the Rob Brown Show starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And it's the fan of State, Rob. And right now, Rob, Lonzo will be back in just a minute. He's going to move his car. All right, we got a lot of stuff we're talking about on the show today. I'm gonna open with this. I promise you, on the list of NFL players that I would fight, Cam Newton's not on it. Just so we're clear, there is a video that has been making the rounds over the past couple of hours of a video that took place at a 7-on-7 high school football tournament. And in the video, former Panther quarterback Cam Newton is seen in a scuffle, being pushed, shoved, throwing punches at a group of high school guys, one of which comes running in to try to throw a last-second sucker punch at Cam Newton before a cop and a group of bystanders are able to break it up. And I will say, it's pretty gnarly. He's at the top of a staircase. He's wearing one of his signature big hats, this one with a lovely plume feather sticking out of the top of it. And there are like 3 kids jumping Cam. Cam is very clearly holding his own, and then he's finally kind of shoved out from underneath the tent he was standing at. There's a group of people watching. Cam is he's got his waist wrapped up by one of the guys, and then he is just swinging back on some dudes, the former NFL quarterback, in the middle of a group of dudes that he basically just kind of throws away. There's another guy that comes running up in a white t-shirt at the very end who throws a haymaker punch at Cam. It looks like he hit somebody, though I don't know if it was Cam or anybody else. Finally, Cam was able to hold these guys off long enough for a cop and several other individuals to show up and start pulling away the folks that were jumping Cam Newton. I'm just going to go with, I, for one, would probably not try to scrap with a 6'4" tall, 245-pound brick wall who was known predominantly for bullying defenders on the run. You will remember there was a league controversy around Cam Newton. I don't know why you're mad at me. I'm not the boss sent the email. Why are you coming after me, Zoe? I was trying to help, not harm. Wasn't trying to hinder. Was trying to assist.
I was doing what those guys did to Cam, basically.
Oh,
that's all
true.
it was.
They did. There was a controversy surrounding Cam Newton in the NFL because Cam ran so hard that when he dropped back in the pocket, he would take shots that would have brought assault charges from the league against most quarterbacks. Cam used to get knocked around and no flags, and it seemed a little fishy at the best. Well, Cam Newton still...
Did you break Facebook while I was gone?
No, I don't know what's going on with the folks on Facebook. It's on my end, it shows that it is streaming clearly. So I'll refresh it. Maybe, I think. No, I won't. I don't know how to do that. So I'm not going to do anything. Refresh the Fan Upstate page on Facebook. See if it works. It should. Anyway, I'm just going to go with, even if you are one of the dreaded, hated, loathed YouTube influencers, if you are trying to go viral, if you are trying to get attention by going viral, I am going to give you a piece of advice, and I'm going to give you this piece of advice for free. The piece of advice that I am going to give you for free is this. Don't fight Cam Newton. Okay? He's a big dude, and he's very strong. He's very strong. Don't fight Cam Newton. Like, if you need to go
but
viral,
there's like three of us, man. We got Cam Newton. There's three of us. We got that guy. Come on. He old.
This dude used to run through NFL defenses like easy. Okay? He's kind of a dude. My suggestion, again, I don't care if there's 5 of you. Don't fight Cam Newton. Don't fight Cam Newton.
How about don't fight anybody unless you have to, man? I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm good with that. But again, if you are going to fight somebody, maybe not a 6'4", 245-pound brick wall who wears a football helmet for a living, or used to.
Now he wears
Maybe don't do that.
That killer hat that you couldn't even get the hat off his head.
I know you couldn't even. De-hat him.
Yeah, at least gotta go for the hat.
You couldn't even de-hat that dude.
Yeah, we'll see if his hair's all messed up or something. And say, see, so he'll look disheveled after the thing when he probably just walked back up after and like, I don't even know what's going on. Who were those guys?
I'll tell you this. Once again, if you are a sucker punch, stop. All right? Listen, it's one thing to get into a fight. It's one thing to start throwing some hands. It's one thing to give and or receive that smoke. Sucker punch are the best in the world because everybody hates them. Nobody likes sucker punch guy. You are the biggest bleep in the world if you are a sucker punch guy. All right? And then you're going to run in and sucker punch a dude who, again, got hit by linebackers for a living. It made a lot of money doing it. That's the guy that's the guy you're gonna go after. James said Cam's like Raiden fighting with the hat on. It is the source of his power.
I can't. Did Raiden have a strap though? I can't remember.
I think he did in like the later games. Cam's got that feather though. Got that big feather. You got to mean business if you rock a top hat with a feather in it.
As I was saying on stream, those hats have depth to them. If you look at them,
you got to be heavy, right?
But they also have. I think they rest pretty low on his head. So I mean, that it had some movement to it. If you watch, it moved a little. It just never came off.
Dude, listen, especially to you youngins out there, you Utes. Listen to Uncle Rob for just a minute. Nobody cares if you trend. Nobody cares if you go viral. Doing this, jumping Cameron Newton, puts you on the same level as the clowns who climb to the top of skyscrapers without lifelines attached, the folks who go out and bungee jump without a bungee cord because I gotta go viral, man. You're gonna get it handed to you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but if you bungee jump without a cord, you're gonna die.
I don't know, man. I was trying to come up with something and I couldn't on the fly. Right? Point is, it's real dumb.
This is all.
It's
This
real
is,
dumb.
as I said on the stream, this is possibly all a Cam Newton set up to get more people to listen to his podcast because he hasn't really talking to anybody. So he's gonna release a statement saying, "I'm going to talk about this whole thing on my next podcast," and then watch his numbers go up.
And there he is. Everything's a work zone is here. Everything's a work zone.
Are
Makes his daily
you
appearance.
going to say that's not out of the realm of possibility?
I'm gonna say it's very unlikely.
Is it? Why?
Because these dudes
No.
are throwing haymakers
Yeah.
at him.
Yeah, but they weren't connecting.
The last dude hit somebody. I don't know who he got, but he got somebody. I don't know if he got Cam or if he got one of his boys. But the last dude threw a haymaker and he connected with somebody. All right.
So maybe there's just a little fear there about, future appearances by the Rob Brown Show that, maybe someone gets it in their mind that they want to do something like this.
Please don't run up and sucker punch me in public. I'm asking you very nicely. Please don't run up and just clock me in the side of my dome, whether or not I am wearing a fancy hat.
Which he might, and his glasses are going to
Sure.
match and everything. It's because it's branding.
Sure.
Square up first. No sucker
Look,
punches.
yeah.
Just square up.
If you're good, if you want to go for the virality and you're going to make me defend myself, at least be a man and give me a second,
By the way, I got you. So I mean, I hope,
Give me a minute to go hair up and square up first. All right. That's all I'm asking. Just let me square up first. Because this kind of crap, this is weak, man. Jokes aside, please don't run up and just start fighting people. It's real dumb.
It is dumb, but
How the hell do you think we should go jump Cam Newton is the right decision here?
maybe he said something on his podcast that bothered him. I don't know.
About these three nobodies at a high school football tournament? I think my dudes are just what's the word I'm looking for here? Real dumb. I think they're just real dumb.
Did one of us get us in Facebook jail? Possibly.
Can't imagine so. I guess we'll find out very shortly.
Let's just blame Diesel.
I accept. All right. 844-326-3663 is the number. 844-326-3663. Text us 71307, 71307. Let's start that text with the word fan, F-A-N, fan, and we will read them on the radio broadcast. Texter said, definitely Clemson will be in the 12-team playoff. Too many cupcakes, and I'm not a Carolina fan. Oh, the guy who texted earlier said he's definitely not a Carolina fan. Okay.
You mean the guy who I accused of being a Clemson fan?
I don't know.
Okay.
I will agree. I think Clemson is in the 12-team playoff next year. I don't have any problems.
My
prognosticating.
My prognosticator's broken. So I'm just not going to say. I look at the downward trend of Clemson right now, and I cannot say for sure they're in the top 2 in the ACC.
I think they have.
Hey, is Kate Klubnik still their quarterback?
Yes.
Okay. Who are their receivers?
We will see who brings out because spring practice starts in like a week and a half.
Okay. All right. Do they still have a running game though, right?
They do have a run game.
Do they know how to use that running game?
I think they learned in that bowl game
Do you?
that
Are you sure?
turn around and you give the ball to Phil Maffa like a lot of the times. We'll see. I do think Tyler Brown's going to be a guy this year, though. Sophomore season, real good start, had some big moments. I think that guy from right here in the GVL, as a matter of fact, is going to be a stud this year. Yeah, they're going back to the playoffs. I'm comfortable with that. Let's run to a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We got a lot more stuff that I want to run through, a couple of quick hit stories, and then we'll ask what the X is going on, and then we'll call it a day. That's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show with Robin Lonzo right here on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me just a second. I'm going to check on this Facebook thing real quick,
Do what?
I was telling them, give me a second. I'm going to look on the if I can figure out the Fan Upstate thing.
Today, I feel
I wonder what it sounds like when I do that. Like that.
Distorted, and it makes me angry. Yeah, that. So I'm looking at the Fan Upstate's Facebook page, and it's working. Yes. Oh man, I gotta stay in here for this. Sucks.
Cincinnati, Tennessee, Chargers, Commanders, Bears, Cardinals, Carolina Panthers, and Patriots. You have the Panthers going. What's the first? I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. I think it comes down to 3 teams. Cincinnati, Tennessee, you're the only 10 I see, and the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh. Don't you think Harbaugh needs a little bit more than a year? Cincinnati's the obvious pick. So give me the mayo-drinking QB from Kentucky, Will Levis, to lead Tennessee to the AFC South. What say you? I'm Mike
Sides with Mark Wright, 3 to 7 p.m. today on the Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
Ingles Markets is a proud sponsor of the Mark Ryan Sports Bid. From the playing field to the stands to your own living room, Ingles Markets has everything you need to fuel your athlete or satisfy all the hungry fans in your life. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Meet Cheryl. Hey, she's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card. It's gotta be somewhere. Maybe she lost it at Salsa Night. These skirts should have pockets. Or maybe she lost it at Pilates. 3, 2. But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card, so it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, dude, because I just checked it. Did you check it on your phone?
I did. It was working when I stepped out there.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'll look. I'll see. I haven't been able to find anything that's wrong with it. I'm looking.
eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
That was beautiful.
So now I've tested it on my phone and my computer. Are you looking at Rob's personal page or my personal page? Because I'm just looking at the fan page, and the fan page is working. So that's just weird. There you go, Wes. You're looking at the right show then. Birthday Boy and Superman. The Nick Cage Superman. That's me, the Nick Cage Superman.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo on a beautiful Upstate Monday morning. Couple of things taking place that we need to get to. The National Football League has increased its salary cap this year, $255.4 million. Each club will also receive an additional $74 million for performance-based play and benefits for retired players. The distribution is from a $10.5 billion net for the NFL last year. This is a huge increase, about a $30 million increase per club in the salary clap.
Okay, so I'm not sure if penicillin works on that, but maybe it does.
On the salary cap, it is the largest single-year increase in the history of the NFL's salary cap, which dates back to 1994. The NFL said, quote, "The payment is the result of the full repayment of all amounts advanced by the clubs and deferred by the players during the COVID pandemic, as well as an extraordinary increase in media revenue for the 2024 season." Now, there's a couple of things that matter with this. There's a couple of impacts that have to be addressed here. The $30 million increase is a direct reflection on the money-making of the NFL. One NFC executive credited NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell for seeming to take a collaborative rather than combative approach in his first year as the league and union agreed to the $255.4 million cap. However, three other execs told Yahoo Sports that they viewed this more as a reset from the COVID-19 loss than a massive boon from the increasingly diversified profile of league media rights. You know, obviously, about the game that was on Peacock last year. We know next year there will likely be another Peacock game. There will definitely be a playoff game viewed exclusively on Amazon Prime. More outlets are paying more money to the league in order to carry at least even an individual game right now. So there is some truth that part of this huge salary cap increase is coming from the league doing real good financially. And some of it comes from the fact that with the loss of audiences during the COVID year, league revenue went down. Now it's recovered. And so the truth about this expansion is somewhere in there. But even with the COVID year, this salary cap bump was higher than most of the execs who spoke on the condition of anonymity assumed thought it was going to be. This does have impacts on the teams themselves. One of the results that are expected is that teams will likely offer fewer voidable years on player contracts, and teams will likely be willing to take on more cap hits right now. That is over the last couple of years, especially for the teams that are close to or over the cap. Cap hits have been a problem. That in a reality that is created, that some of these teams might have kept guys on the roster that they otherwise would have cut, because keeping that guy and hoping he gets better puts you in a better position than letting him go, taking a big cap hit, not being able to utilize that money to bring in another player. Now they can absorb a little bit more dead cap space. There are teams that this could impact, like the Denver Broncos, trying to figure out what they are going to do with Russell Wilson. Wilson's a guy that they could just turn loose and have a big dead cap money hit that they might not have done, but now they got $30 million more to play with. That's big money. Franchise tags are going to likely now be used a little bit more liberally. Franchise tags obviously help teams by not needing to commit to a player long-term and perhaps not for the highest average annual value per year, but they limit teams as they require an entire cap hit to land in 1 year of the tag. You can't spread that money out. If they tag Brian Burns for $27 million ish, if the Cats decide to tag Brian Burns, that is something in the past they may not have been willing to do because that entire pay chunk all goes against this year. But now, again, you got $30 million added. So the Cats could change nothing at all, tag Brian Burns, and actually be in the exact same spot they were already at. So especially if you were a team that was already projected to be under the cap or right at it, now the franchise tag is not a big deal if you got a guy you really want to keep. If you got a guy you really want to keep and don't want to move on from, like Agent Zero, this pretty much says you can keep him now. You can keep him for free. You don't have to change anything that you were planning on doing. If you were planning on playing with that old number, which was like 225, you can keep that exact same plan, and now you've got a $30 million tag available for free. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. So this is going to be really interesting. The reason I bring it up is, over the years I've been doing this, I have come to the conclusion that the vast majority of us don't care about the salary cap. I mean, we care about it in that obviously it impacts roster construction. But the overwhelming majority, I'm going to be real with you. I've been in this game 16 years. I still don't understand the cap because it's like every time something comes up, I get a Derek Carr is restructuring his contract and he's saving New Orleans $24 million against the cap this year. I don't know how the hell that works. I don't get it. I really probably haven't done the amount of research I need to try, but it's a lot of big lawyer terms.
I was going to say, you'd have to probably be a lawyer to completely understand it, or someone in the NFL.
Bar exam to figure it out with the amount of legalese that goes into it. But we all know the simplistic breakdown. Every year, guys get paid a certain amount of money, and X percentage of that money goes against the cap, and you can't spend more than this amount. You got $30 million added to that number. So if you had a plan to get under the 225 cap and now it's 255, the Brian Burns tag is free. That's how this connects to the Carolina Panthers. If they were hesitant about tagging Brian Burns, because while you want Agent Zero back, if you tag Agent Zero, that entire amount of money goes against the tag this year, which means that is $30 million less to use to go free agent shopping. That's $30 million less than if you were to sign a 5-year extension, and now Brian Burns' number is somewhere in the range of $7-10 million against the cap this year. It would be 27. Now, if you tag him, you get you still have a cap increase of $3 million this year, which is not an insignificant chunk of change. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. We'll see if this maybe acts as the catalyst to get that tag done for the Carolina Panthers if they decide to do that. Cody Bellinger is a Chicago Cub once again. The Cubs finally get that deal done. I have been poking the Cubs with a stick for like 3 weeks now. Like, when are you going to do something, Chicago? I really thought they were going to be in the mix for some big names. They weren't, but Cody Bellinger on an $80 million 3-year deal. He has opt-outs after the first 2 seasons, so he basically can opt out of this contract anytime he wants. It's a good deal. I thought there was going to be a relatively robust market for Cody Bellinger. Remember, Scott Boras is his agent. Scott Boras is like the king of getting players more money than they probably deserve on a contract. I think we all kind of thought he was going to end up with a stupid high contract. played really well in 2023. 27 years old. Not an old guy, not a young guy. I thought there were going to be a lot of teams lining up to pay Cody Bellinger way more than 24-ish, 23-ish million dollars a year. Apparently, either A, they weren't, or B, he just wanted to be a Cub and they weren't, they weren't super, super compelled to get that deal done early, but they get it done. Tim Anderson is a Miami Marlin, 1 year, $5 million deal. I hope the change of scenery gets him right. You will remember Tim Anderson, by the way, the guy who coined Hating-Ass Mario's name. Tim Anderson for a while was an all-star. Tim Anderson for a while was one of the better interior defenders in Major League Baseball. And then he got knocked out in a game. Decided to throw a punch. Instead of throwing the punch, he ate a punch. He got flat out put to sleep at second base, and he was never the same guy. He stank last year. Hit 245, 286, 296 with one home run in 493 at-bats, and his defensive numbers were so bad last year that he was actually a statistical liability. He was a -2 WAR last year, ranked last amongst all starting position players. The White Sox decided to buy out his 2024 option rather than pay him. The Marlins gave him more money than the White Sox bought him out for. Question mark is, he was a year and a half removed from hitting .301 and making the All-Star team, the fourth of 4 straight plus 300 average seasons. I don't know how I feel about that move. I don't. I love Tim Anderson. I hope the change of scenery in Miami fixes him. But he looked real bad last year. Jorge Soler is a San Francisco Giant, 3 years, $40 million. Listen, Braves fans very familiar with Jorge Soler. He had that moonshot against the Astros that was kind of the defining moment of the Braves World Series win a couple of years ago. Soler got paid this for one reason and one reason alone. He was the best power hitter left on the market. That was it. There are other guys out there. J.D. Martinez is out there. Adam Duvall, Matt Chapman, all still out there. Cody Bellinger up until this weekend, all still out there. Jorge Soler got signed ahead of all of them because he was the best power batter left. I've talked about this in the past. I talked about it on this show not but a week and a half ago. When folks were asking the question, how come guys aren't signed yet? How is Jordan Montgomery not on the team yet? How is, at the time, Cody Bellinger not on a team yet? How is Blake Snell, a Cy Young candidate, not on a team yet? And the answer was very simple. Because there's no free agency deadline in Major League Baseball. And because there's no free agency deadline, guys can utilize their time on the market to manipulate the market. If you are a power hitter, you can jump out real early and go, hey, look, I'm on the market. Just get me off. Give me a team, pay me good money, I'll come play there. Or you can take the big risk, the big gamble. It worked out for Jorge Soler. It did not work out as well as Cody Bellinger probably could have made it. If Bellinger earlier in the game, before everybody started signing middle infielders, if Bellinger would have pushed the market earlier, probably could have done better than a 3-year deal. Now, he still ended up okay because of the 2-year option on the deal, but he ended up with a 3-year deal for $80 million. He probably could have got like a 5-year $120 somewhere. But he didn't. He played the market. It didn't work out. It worked out real well for Jorge Soler. He basically waited until the other handful of power hitters that were out there went. And then he said, look, somebody needs a thumper. Somebody needs a big bat. I'm the last guy left that is a big bat kind of guy. My dude is averaging 34 home runs per 162 games played over the past 3 years. Now, he did not get a massive contract because in the same stretch that he goes 34 dingers, he averages just 81 ribbies and has a relatively low batting average. But you put him in as a pure DH. The guy's not even 32 years old. If you need outfield depth, He can play it. Not a great outfielder, but he's good enough. But he played the market. This is why I got to tell you, I love Major League Baseball free agency leading up to spring training, because it is if they do it right, masterclass of one group trying to play the other and not get outplayed by the other. So anyway, there's your biggest signings over the past couple of days. Dawn Staley's Gamecocks are your Southeastern Conference champions. They absolutely thump Kentucky. Ran Kentucky out of the gym yesterday, did the Lady Gamecocks. They end up winning that game 103-55. That is, if you are keeping track, a 48-point victory over Kentucky. Kentucky's 11-17. They're 4-10 in conference. They're not a good team, but you still beat them by 48.
Wait a minute. You're saying that there are some teams in college basketball that can score over 100?
Dawn's gals can. Put up a $103. And by the way, they did it without Cardoso. Remember, she took off. She went to go play for Brazil's national team, trying to earn that team an Olympic bid, start getting prepped for the summer games. They are still trying to work her back into shape with the team. So she did not play in this game. 4 of 5 starters had double digits, and 2 bench players had double digits for the Gamecocks. 18 points put up by Bree Hall. You had 11 from Pow Pow. You had 13 from Watkins. Fagan, 16 off the bench. It's as well-rounded of a team as you're going to see. They remain undefeated, 27-0, SEC regular season conference champions. And in a couple of weeks, when they square up with the hair up at the well for the SEC women's basketball championship, they're going to be heavy favorites. I know, shocking. Overall 1 seed. I know, shocking. This team's fun, man. One of my favorite live events this year was being at the SEC Women's Championship tournament last year and just watching the crowd love up on Dawn and the Gamecocks. Man, it was a blast. All right, we got to run to a break. Texture says, okay, Rob, we reached our max baseball talk for the week. Move on. I have horrendous news for you, Texter. Spring training hath begun. There are actual games being played on actual baseball fields by actual baseball teams and actual baseball leagues happening literally today, as a matter of fact.
Can we talk Olympic qualifying instead?
For what sport? Because there's a lot of them.
All of them.
Boston took on Atlanta yesterday, a 5-4 L to the Red Sox after they beat the Rays back in day one. They now squared up with the AL East winners of last year, the Baltimore Orioles. That game at 1:05 this afternoon. Because it's spring, I do not have a pitching matchup for you yet. But again, most of these guys throwing a single inning. Hey, spring baseball, man. You get to see who's in the groove early. I love it. It's the best. Let's take a break. James said, would love to see SC get revenge on Iowa this year. Very possible Final Four matchup, maybe championship matchup. We'll see how the bracket shakes up. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. Oh, man.
You know why it was cool in here today? I don't know if you noticed that. I came in here Saturday afternoon and turned the air, and
so it had
it's
2 days to get right.
It's like I should start doing that. It's not like I'm not here. I am here, so. But the basketball game had already happened, so it was over.
Yeah.
So nobody else should have been in here between then and now. You know, that could be, Steven, except for it's working for us. And 3 people are still on the Fan Upstate, so it's like the majority of people are watching your YouTube page.
Yep.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
Actually, now it looks like no one's on the Fans Facebook page.
Nope, which is weird. It's usually the most popular destination.
Well, we have been flagged a little bit lately, and it's probably, I don't know whose fault it is. It's probably our fault. I'm going to go with our.
Find a store or switch Suavemente.
It's still working. That's weird.
Yeah, it's still working. That's weird.
There's proof. Echoes of me. You made me laugh out loud. That's so weird.
The Rob Brown Radio program back on the air. Rob and Lonzo with you. Let's let's play the hits. Let's go back to something we talked about at the beginning of the show. We'll run it back one more time because we got a few minutes before we ask what the X is going on. It is the only topic that anybody seems to care about today. Should court storming be permanently banned after Wake Forest in a game that they were favored to win, though there was a ranked number next to that of Duke? The Demon Deacons were favored in Vegas. They won that game, and of course the Demon Deke fans stormed the court, as is college basketball's tradition with a ranked upset win. Well, Duke forward Kyle Filipowski was injured in the court storming. A couple of Demon Deke fans ran headfirst into the position that he occupied. I will indeed say it was a charge against the Demon Deacon fans. And he ended up rolling his ankle, had to be protected from the surging crowd and effectively carried off the court by a manager, a teammate, and head coach John Shire. And John was not thrilled. He got to the locker room, sat down in front of the mic, and obviously the first thing he wanted to talk about was that.
Disappointed we lost. But look, for me, I'm more concerned about the well-being of our guys. You know, Flip sprains his ankle. When are we going to ban court storming? Like, when are we going to ban that? Like, how many times does a player have to get into something where they get punched or they get pushed or they get taunted right in their face? And it's a dangerous thing. And I don't want that to take away from the game that Wake played. Because Wake played a big-time game. Salas was as good as could be today, and hats off to them. But you look around the country, and Caitlin Clark, something happens. And now Flip, I don't know what his status is going to be. He sprains his ankle. And it's one thing, like when I played, at least it was 10 seconds in the court, you would storm the court. Now it's the buzzer doesn't even go off, and they're running on the floor. And this has happened to us a bunch this year. It's part of it. I don't want this to take away at all from Wake. They earned it. They deserve the win. Steve is a hell of a coach. I respect the heck out of him and his team. They're really good. And if this is an example that they need to be in the tournament, what are we even talking about? So I'll answer any questions. But for me, that's hats off to them. We need to be better. We need to learn from this. But that needs to stop.
I I get it. But as I've said, the solution's very simple to me. Took me about a minute to come up with it. How do we do this in a way that we don't get rid of a tremendous tradition within college basketball? And you guys know I don't particularly care about traditions. Traditions are peer pressure from dead people. I don't care about traditions. But it doesn't mean I don't appreciate the good ones. Court storming is a fantastic tradition within college basketball, but it cannot be done at the risk, at the expense of players getting injured. Now, ESPN deep dove this a little bit. They said that just this season alone, for the 3 months that college basketball has been underway, there have been an average of 3 stormed courts per week. I'm very bad at math, but I'm just going to assume that works out to, let's say, for the sake of a nice round even number, 100 court stormings this year, most recently culminating with Wake's win over Duke. If I only count the 5 away team players that are on the floor at the conclusion of a stormed court, you are talking about 500 players from away teams that have been on the floor during a court storming. I am not saying the only 2 that have been injured are Caitlin Clark and Kyle Filipowski. I'm saying they're the only 2 we know about it. Now, as Lonzo, I think, aptly and correctly pointed out, this is now something that is going to be paid attention to at every level of college basketball, because I can't say for certain that at the JUCO level, there hasn't been a player that's been hurt by a court storming. I can't say that for a fact. I can say for a fact it wouldn't be national news if that did happen. It will be now. It will be now. If it happens now, it will be front page. But today, we collectively as a group are aware of 2 players that have been injured in a court storming, Kyle Filipowski and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, if I recall correctly, didn't miss any time. Kyle Filipowski, question mark if you will. I do not know how severe the bum ankle will turn out to be. I don't want the tradition to go away. I also don't want it to continue at the risk of players' health and safety. So, real easy solution. You go get 6 or 7 off-duty cops. You place 2 at every corner of the floor. And you make an announcement. Anyone caught on the court within 60 seconds of the conclusion of the game will be arrested and banned for life. You give us 60 seconds to clear the players off the court. And you make sure every team knows, right? It becomes part of the pregame conversation for everybody. Hey, fellas. We're going to play an away game. We're a top 10 team in the country. If we lose this game, the minute that buzzer hits, get the hell off the court. All right? Straight to the locker room. I know you want to go over and dap up the boys and all that, but we're not going to do that. So what I need you to do is the minute the final horn hits, that's my impression of a horn. Got to say, kind of nailed it. The minute the horn hits, I need you to take yourself back to the locker room. Get off the floor. If we lose, get off the floor. You make an announcement to the fans. Fans, at the conclusion of the game, please allow 60 seconds for the opposing team to clear out. And then let's have some chaos. Let's have some fun. Let's let the kids be kids. Let's let the rowdy reptiles or what was the name of the student section? The one we talked about a couple of weeks ago had a real dumb name. The BYU stands. The Rock.
I don't remember.
The something rowdy, the rockin' rocks, the rock around the clocks, whatever they were called. Give us 60 seconds to clear the bad guys off the floor, and then pandemonium. Let's go wild. Let's have fun, right? I don't think the fervor of the audience is going to be lost in 60 seconds. I don't think the audience is going to go away.
It absolutely would be. You've stolen the moment if you may make them wait a minute. My solution is put a pocky glass, You ain't getting through hockey glass. You can slam against the hockey glass, and then you decide, we can't get on the court. I think I'll go home, which is what you should do when the game is over. Stay off the court. You're not an athlete.
I'm real happy for Lonzo because his next job is lined up. It is the commissioner of not letting people have fun.
Yeah, because
Sports are not supposed to be fun. This is serious. You come, you watch the game, and then you go home.
I think that anyone who's heard this show or me on the radio, period, knows that I'm a serious person who never has fun. So you're right. So I should be the arbiter, if you will, of fun and how to not have it.
Yeah. Roger Goodell somewhere is like groping himself listening to how much you are trying to tell people to stop having fun.
Don't play the cut.
My loins have been tingling.
You should not play those back to back, or you should not say that. And no, you should not do that. I just got. It says storming the court, storming the field, storming anything, unless you're storming a hill trying to win it during a war. If you're storming the court or the field, it's dumb. It's just dumb. It really is. You're just let's riot. That's what you're doing. You're rioting, and yeah, that's a different kind of riot. But
we literally named our supporters fan club the Riot. It is fun.
Whose supporter fan club?
The Greenville Triumph.
What did they do?
USL League One Soccer.
Oh, okay. All right. When's that coming back?
March 9th, first home game, Furman University, Paladin Stadium. The Riot back in the house, baby.
That's like week and a half, right?
I know.
Something like that. I mean,
can't wait. Soccer's back, homies.
I just got to tell you, no one, and I mean no one, there is no one out there on radio or in the world or in the history of mankind who can segue like we can. That's just, I mean, that's it's what winners do.
I don't disagree. We just disagree on the fact that court storming is fun.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
It is fun and good.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
That's fine.
Because there is a thing where I don't like people, and the fact that I'm going to run out where there are like thousands or hundreds or like 10 people all around me, depending on where you are.
No one should court storm because I don't want you around me.
If someone falls, they get trampled, they die, they get hurt really bad. Oh, they were just having fun, except for that person who got trampled or hurt or died.
I think we should get rid of cars in case someone gets in a car accident.
Don't go weird analogy here. We're talking about no, it's not. We're talking about storming the court. No, I would be
the head of the haters ball, Lonzo.
No, I would be the commissioner of hate. That sounds better than hater commissioner. Hello, I'm Lonzo, commissioner.
Cup of haters. Cup of haters. Hey, we should do that thing we do to end the show now.
If you want to.
I do.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
What the heck's gonna give it to you? Some would say, what the X is going on with this show today?
Most people ask me that most days.
Yeah. All right. Well, the first thing that's Xing is Peter King.
Peter King is retiring, the longtime NFL writer and the producer of the Monday Morning Quarterback blog, post, article, whatever you want to call it, has been
Something
covering
online.
The National Football League for like a lot of years, and he posted his final Monday Morning Quarterback. He is stepping away, and of course, those of us in the game, I got to tell you, I like Peter King. I think he's done a good job for a long time. Are basically taking some time to appreciate, to acknowledge him
so to speak.
On his way out, to speak. Yeah.
All right. The next thing that's Xing may have something to do with storming the court, or I'm not sure. The Darwin Award is Xing.
Of course, Charles Darwin, famous for ever so eloquently in his world famous book, came up with the concept of evolution via natural selection. And because the internet is a awful and yet also hilarious place, the Darwin Awards are very famously handed out to people who remove themselves from the gene pool in ever increasingly mostly dumb, sometimes, sorry to say, hilarious ways by doing stupid things And the internet loves handing out a Darwin Award. I don't think it's because of court storming, but so far we haven't lost anybody yet.
I think it's time for the annual Darwin Awards. So
can't wait. One of the best times of the year.
All right. The next thing that's Xing is self-immolation.
All right, so this one's kind of a deep one.
It is, but I'd never heard it called that before.
This one's kind of a deep one. There was a United States military member who was engaged in the conflict in Palestine who self-immolated. Basically, that is when you commit suicide by lighting yourself on fire, usually done as a mark of protest, which is what this individual did. And I think a lot of people have learned the term self-immolation today.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't want to know about it. The last thing that's Xing is WWE on AE.
That, of course, is trending because I hung out with R-Truth this Saturday, and I am now his favorite non-wrestler.
That's not why. The biography and the Rivals thing came back last night. I watched the majority of Randy Orton. I'm going to be watching more when I get home. It's really cool.
What's up? What's up, man?
That is the end of the radio broadcast. I hope you enjoyed the program. If you did, come back tomorrow because we're going to try it all over again.
Don't storm the court.
And we might be better. If you enjoyed the show, storm the court. For Lonzo, my name is Rob Brown. Have a lovely rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah!
Stopping them from storming.
No, storm the court.
No, don't
Chuck
do that.
Darwin is a heel in some parts of the country.
Including this one, yes.
Oh, man. Good tweet. Let's
go get some pizza. It's too early. In a little while, let's go get some pizza. Can't find that it's available, though. We want to go to KFC without them having pizza.
All right, dudes and dudettes, we got a lot to do because it's Monday. I hope you all have a spectacular rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with us. You're all amazing people, individually and as a group. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.